What is up, Friday Nighters? Welcome back to another episode of Just Another Friday Night. We are your two hosts. I am Don CM Chuck, and this is Don AA for Adamantium Adam. Guys, welcome to our episode tonight called, as you can see on the bottom, Gangs of Friday Night. Guys, normally we don't tell you right out the gate what we're going to be talking about, but, I think we're giving it away now pretty much here with the background and my attire, though AA said I look like an old school broadcaster, so you know what I mean, I might as well give you a little bit of the tonight Joe Frazier versus Muhammad Ali in one of the greatest bouts of all time. AA, how's it going, man? Talk a little bit to us.
You know what, it kind of sucked this week, but we're here now.
I know
we are here on Friday night. Best place to be on Friday night.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Guys, if you're listening in, tuning in, however it is you may choose to listen, you may be listening to us live on Facebook Live. Just to remind you, we go live every Friday night on Facebook Live, and you can join us there for the conversation that we're having live. Feel free to comment in, say hello, add to the conversation. We read those comments just about every 30 minutes. But in the beginning of the show now and at the end of the show, we're going to open and close by reading your comments, talking to you as well for a few minutes before we really get into the topic, the meat and veg of the subject matter. So yeah, we invite you guys to join, but if not, you're not able to join us, you can always check us out anywhere where podcasts are available. All of our links are in any of our social media. Just go to click on the link for Linktree. You can find the link to Spotify, the link to YouTube, the link to pretty much everything. I'm getting all the links up there, but in one form or another, you can find the link to get to us. Mm-hmm. And then, that's where you can listen to the show. Again, Spotify, Anchor, iTunes. I mean, we say it all the time. So if there's some reason you can't listen to just the audio and you want to, let us know. We'll make sure that we put you in the right direction. But guys, let's go ahead and get over to the comments section and check. Looks like we got one in so far. We like to give this chance for you guys to come in and say hello and say hi. It looks like Maria is here. Hi, Maria. Steve is here. Steve says, cheers, guys. Steve, we're starting with something new tonight. If you haven't tried this yet, Dos Equis, the lime and salt edition here. So I found this over at the HEB on Goliad. $10 for a 6-pack though, so a little bit steep. Yeah, but we're definitely going to give it some of a review here. I'll let AA is the Dos Equis, the resident Dos Equis guy, so he'll rate and review it and let you guys know.
Steve, how you doing tonight? Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, man, for sure.
It's always good to see familiar faces again.
Absolutely. We love when all of you guys join in. Kara's in the house. Kara says, how is it? Okay, well, let's tell you right now. Clank a glass. Cheers to the Friday Night Faithful and all the Friday Nighters, guys. Happy Friday.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, that's good.
That's not bad. That's pretty good.
I like it. I would say I like it better than regular Dos Equis.
Yeah, that's way better. Yeah.
Yeah. Really good.
That's really good. Yeah.
Worth $10 for a 6-pack.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
There you have it right there. That's the man right there.
Worth it.
Guys, again, it's no mystery tonight what we're going to be talking about. We've got the man in the back hanging here, the Don himself, Don Vito Corleone. And next to him, we've got the Warriors. And then you've got down below, you can kind of see it there, the Scarface
Tony Montana
lamp there, Tony Montana. So it tells you, like our title says, guys, tonight, the Gangs of Friday Night, our take and our examination of the influence and the, I don't know what else you would say, the way that the mob movies, mafia movies, gangster movies, call them what you will, what counts, what doesn't, who's in, who's not, and which ones do we like, love, hate?
At first, we're just going to call this mobster movies, but then we're kind of limiting ourselves. So we just go by mobsters. So it was like, let's bring in the gangs. Let's bring in, gang warfare, drug warfare, crime movies that all under kind of the banner, But when you think mobsters, I mean, you really think, Godfather.
Sure.
So we just want to dive in, tell you what we think is our favorite mobster movie, gang movie, drug movie, what they mean to us, what they mean to other people.
Totally. So numerous viewings. Guys, bear with me as I'm wearing all this stuff. I may begin stripping it off because it's warm and my headset doesn't exactly fit on while I have the hat on. So I want to be comfortable here. As you can see me, I'm leaning back to talk to Double A and stuff like that. So let's see. Again, guys, in the beginning part of the show, now what we're doing is reading your comments, and reading your highs and hellos, and anything you want to add up front to the conversation. So let's see. Let me see here. Oh, Mario Delgado joined the conversation.
Hey,
Mario says, when I was a kid, I asked God for a bike, but I know it doesn't work that way. So I stole a bike and asked him for forgiveness. Mario, I know that's got to be a classic line from a movie. Do you know that one, Double A?
No.
Or unless that's out of Mario's own mob script. Mario, you might have to fill us in. I don't recognize that, but that's hilarious as hell. Jess is in the house. She says, oh, yum. So, Carrie, that answers your question right there, too. It's very tasty. Very tasty. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's real good.
Double A, do we have any like upfront news or anything we want to kind of talk about briefly before we get going?
Oh, Michael Corleone.
Really? Okay. I don't remember that Michael Corleone quote. Damn, I had to get back into that one. Mario, did you watch Coda, the new recut of The Godfather 3? We plan to talk about it, but I'm just curious if you happen to see that. They re-released that, and we'll get to that. But
yeah, big news in the comic book world. Justice League, they finally have an announced date.
Yeah.
March 18th.
Yeah.
The Snyder Cut. For those interested in the Snyder Cut, it's coming out March the 18th.
People have been waiting, right? They released those flags, the posters, and the posters look pretty cool.
The posters do look cool, but we shall see if it is worth it or not.
I can tell you this, guys. For everything that people say about the DC movies, whoever does their trailers, they deserve a fucking Oscar.
The trailers are good.
I have never been left like more hungry than the Batman vs Superman trailer, where I was like, "Oh my god!"
For me, it was Man of Steel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, very awesome also. Yeah. And you're just like, man, like
I was getting more and more pumped up when Man of Steel came out.
Like I knew that I was going to go see that movie like the first week, like be in line at theaters, like because there's
and I did for Man of Steel.
Yeah, those trailers are great. And I did like Man of Steel. I mean, I didn't love any of them. Like I loved them, you know what I mean? But you know, I mean, like I said, we can look back and say, hey, you know what I mean? Like I still liked it. I own Man of Steel. That's the only one I think I own. I don't own Justice League or Batman v Superman or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but again, I don't hate them. You know what I mean? Like some people are rabidly hating them. You know what I mean? I don't
hate them, but I don't like the stories.
Right. I get you. Let's check the comments here again. Mario gives us a boo. Who, what, where? Yeah. I guess I don't know. They're long movies.
Before we get into the episode, we did go by our comic book grabs and checked out this very cool New 52 Green Lantern 1 and 2. If you can see it, Sinestro wearing his Green Lantern outfit again.
Very cool.
So that's what kind of intrigued me about this one because I was like, whoa.
Show the other one again, Double A, because I think the glare caught it. There you go. That's a cool picture. Yeah.
Jeff Johns is the writer.
I'm about to ask you who's writing those.
Yeah, so very cool story. I'm going to be picking more of those up. CM told me about this story about the Green Lantern who patrolled the sector for Krypton. And he feels extremely guilty throughout the decades because he felt to save Krypton.
Yeah.
So he is like begging Superman to kill him, out of, I don't know. He just feels worthless. He feels shitty.
I mean, I would imagine. So, yeah, pretty much he didn't do his job.
Very cool story. I didn't know about this until CM told me about it.
And very
cool story.
I want to give credit where credit's due. The writer, can I see real quick?
Yeah.
The writer, Jim Kruger, was on the recent episode of Fat Man Beyond. You guys know I love to listen to Fat Man Beyond. Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin, one of my favorite podcasts, partially inspired this show. And he was their guest, and he wrote Earth X with Alex Ross. And he was talking about this story, and Kevin Smith was so geeked about it. And I thought it was a new story that he'd written, but apparently it is an older story from 2014. But we had a fun Wednesday. Our Wednesday was fun. We went out to the comic store together and we looked for some books. I know we're showing you guys older stuff. There wasn't really anything new that we picked up. But I was telling him about it. We went to go look in the Adventures of Superman section. I found 2 copies. Double A, just based on what I told him I heard on the episode, bought it straight out. So it was very, very cool.
No, Mario, I don't have that one. Sorry.
Yeah, Mario says here, there is a variant Sinestro with teardrop under his eye. Check yours. Oh, man, that would have been sweet. Jeremy's in the house. What's up, Jeremy?
What's up, Jeremy?
What's up, kiddo?
I was surprised that I did not have this CM. Vengeance his first appearance.
Oh, very cool.
You know, if anyone recognizes him, he looks like a roided up Ghost Rider, but very cool character in his own way. So I picked this up for like $13, so not too bad. And then this one, CM gave it to me. Wanda, her timeless cover from Alex Ross. If any of you guys have been watching WandaVision, it is a fucking great show.
Great show.
I have not seen that last episode, so please no spoilers.
No spoilers.
But I love it. I love the show. I love where it's going. So I can't wait. And that was my pickups.
Very nice, very nice. And I also picked up The Adventures of Superman. And I picked up some Stranger Things for my nephew. He's starting to get into a little bit into comics because it's got to be what he likes. So I also borrowed from our last week episode issue of Batman versus the Predator to show to him because he's been really into the Predator lately since the Predator debuted on Fortnite. And they also debuted the T-800 and Sarah Connor. So you can be those skins in Fortnite. So it's very cool. And he started asking me a lot of questions about Predator. So we're watching our way through the Predator movies. He's a little young. I know that some of them are pretty violent, but I mean, you know, I watched them when I was that age.
I was reading Preacher when I was like 12.
Yeah, so it turned out fine. So anyway, he was okay with it. He got a little bit scared of we watched Predator 1, Predator 2. Then he watched on his own without me. He watched the first AVP, and he liked it a lot. He said he really liked that was, I think, his favorite one. He liked seeing the alien. I thought he would be a little bit scared of the xenomorphs because I think the alien is just more scary. But then when we started to watch Requiem, which was the second one, the second AVP, I hadn't seen it. I didn't realize I hadn't seen it. He got a little bit scared. It's like in the beginning, they're like in the sewer, and it's like the xenomorphs are running around quite a bit, and it's kind of like a little bit. It's a little intense.
Has he seen Predators?
No,
that's actually my second favorite Predator movie in the franchise.
We're doing that one next. That's the Adrian Brody one, right?
I love that one.
Yeah. I got a nice box set from Amazon. Only $25.
Oh, nice.
$25. I got all four.
I was hoping they were going to make a sequel, but they never did on that one.
Yeah,
they went straight to the Predator.
The Predator, right. I remember that one. Not that well received.
It sucks too because it's Shane Black.
Yeah,
who was in the original Predator, and then he had a pretty nice writing career as well. He wrote Lethal Weapon.
Oh, Lethal Weapon. That's right. That's right. Yeah. See, so there you go. Let's see some comments here. Steve says,
I've never seen that movie, and I love Charles Bronson.
Yeah,
the Valachi Papers.
The Valachi Papers. Okay, with Charles Bronson. Ooh, nice. Yeah, and Lino Ventura. Okay,
I love Charles Bronson.
This is a big Charles Bronson fan. He got me into watching. You know, last year it's probably like I'm ashamed to admit, but this is my first time seeing like the original Death Wish. Which I loved after I saw it. And I was like, man, what a great movie. Because my dad has always been a huge Charles Bronson fan. And my mom, too. They both love those Death Wish movies. Oddly enough, they didn't show me those. All the other rated R shit I watched as a kid, I didn't see those. But yeah. Jeremy says, dude, Predators is legit. Yes, very much so. We agree, Jeremy. And then Steve says, gangster movies for sure. And Maria says, I'm watching it. Are you watching? Which one are you watching? Maria. Mario, if you're still in the house with us, I do have some questions for you because I was out and about, and this is not particularly the forum to be asking you, but what the hell, I can do whatever I want on my show. So Mario, WandaVision does have me excited and wanting to read some more Scarlet Witch and Vision stuff. I'm trying to track down some House of M. Is there any House of M around that you know of or can get your hands on? Single issues, a nice trade. Would love to read that. I've also seen that there is a trade of Vision and Wanda stories. If you have anything like that, can get your hands on. Additionally, Mario, while I was out looking for when we did our comic book thing, me and Double A on Wednesday, we found some. I also found for my nephew some Predator comics, some one shots, and I was informed that Marvel is going to be collecting all the Predators. They now have the right to the Alien and the Predator, so they're going to be doing some omnibuses. Nice. Not a huge omnibus fan. If it's a big tomb, I don't want to be like Game of Thrones Sam reading this big old, I don't have anywhere to sit and read something like that. But if they're a nice size, the gal at the shop we were at told us that it would be in the previews, but I'd rather go through you. So if you can give me any heads up on that, Mario, I'd appreciate it. If you're still with us. Let's see here. Let's in the house. She says, hi, cousins.
I love you.
Love you. And Predators. Oh, Mom's just watching that right now. Nice. Okay, Mom, cool, Mom. Nice.
Steve, awesome. Back in 72, that was prime Charles Bronson.
Yeah, right there. For sure.
Prime stuff right there.
Let me get my next layer off here, guys, as we warm up.
Guys, seriously, this is probably the best Dos Equis I've had. So I would highly recommend this 6-pack.
There you go, right
pretty
there.
Damn good.
And again, in the kind of like neat, like spiral green can.
That one's really good.
Lime and salt. Yeah. And we've had the lime and salt shiner, not as good as this one. I think this one's might be a little bit better.
Yeah.
So Cool. Let's see here. Checking it elsewhere, guys. Yeah, so not that much news today, comic book wise, and we've already talked to you guys for a few minutes here. Mario says alien variants are out.
Are hot.
Are out. Yeah. I don't really care for the new covers that are out. I mean, they look cool, but I'm not looking for those. I'm looking for more like, I know there was a Predator story, Mario, that followed up after Predator 2 when they give Danny Glover that old school pistol.
Yes, it explains the gun.
Yeah, and I've been told that story is within Decade of Dark Horse issue 1, and that it's apparently hard to come by. I decided to look for Predator comics after 40 years, and well, now I find out the one I want is hard to come by. But again, if you have any line on the collected versions that are going to come out, please let me know. Makes me especially more happy to own the Terminator one that you gave me for Christmas. I showed my nephew that. I actually unwrapped it and showed him. He thought the silver edge pages were really neat. We were looking at some of the art, so neat to know that that's back in the house. Steve's asked that the cans are the 16 ounce or 12. These are 12 ounce cans. We're drinking again. Steve, it was a 6-pack for $10, which kind of sucks.
I think those Sekis are usually always pretty expensive.
Yeah, so but I am hearing
that might be the right price, actually.
Yeah, I'm hearing you can find the big cans like at the front of like the your local ice house, whatever. If you go to QT or I don't think they do the big bin of ice, wherever it is you go, that they've got like the beers iced out in the front. Mm-hmm. I've been hearing people say that you can get that one in the big can as well. So yes, I'm all dressed up. I am all dressed up, which we might as well get right into it.
Yeah, let's get into
today. I was trying to look more mafioso for our mob episode here, but it doesn't work with my headphones. I got to remember not to wear hats so much when I'm doing the show. And then I was like kind of suited up, but it's warm as we podcast. So like I said, I may be taking it off as we go here. But yeah, Double A. Yes. I mean, dude, how long we've been watching mob movies since we were little kids, you know what I mean? And I feel like, there's sometimes we would hold on to maybe the main known ones till the end, but I said let's just get them right out there, right out the gate.
And I want to say real quick, this episode is kind of inspired by Roxanne Hope.
Yes. And
she was the one that wanted to hear our thoughts on the mobster movies.
Yeah, Aaron B had asked too about a mob episode. So we're trying to get that too. Yeah. We had initially thought maybe of having him on for a mob episode, but I think Aaron kind of changed his mind.
He's busy.
So, yeah, he's a busy guy. So.
He's doing a million things.
At
once.
So,
he's probably eating a burger right now, talking about cars and thinking up his next business idea.
Watching the stock market.
Yeah. He's probably investing in GameStop right now.
No kidding, right? By the way, kudos to the Redditors on that and the power of the internet, guys. That was really rad. If you're following any of that story, wow, you know what I mean? It's the little guy wins one.
I think
right?
He put something like Trading Places.
I put some Trading Places up for the. I just thought it was it's a story like it's like the little guy winning story if you really follow that story. And I just put some stuff up in the Friday Night Faithful group just about that or whatever. So definitely a cool story if you guys want to go read more about it. It'll be made into a movie. I'm sure it's almost like one of those movies where it's like
what is it, that 21 with those kids counting the cards?
Right. Yeah, a story of people kind of winning out in the money like that.
Okay, CM. So you're saying how kind of like how we started getting into mob movies.
Yeah.
For me, that's me. I got into it about 94, 95 when you came over to our house and you showed us Casino. That was my first ever mobster movie that I had ever seen. Was
really?
Casino. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, I had never seen anything like that up to that point. I didn't know anything really about mobsters up to that point. So Casino was my opening door for all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Opened it for Martin Scorsese. Never seen a Martin Scorsese movie before Casino. So that was my intro.
I did not know
all that. Yeah. And it kind of just opened the door for me for everything else that followed. Every time someone had a suggestion that I should see this, I went to go see it, so that's where my love came from. And I started, going into books, digging into all the history, seeing who these characters really were, all that stuff. After finding out a lot of this stuff was true, like Casino was based on a true story. I was like, wow, there's actually people out there like that, that bury people in the desert, and that how Joe Pesci's character in Casino got killed like that. That was real. Him and his brother actually got killed like that.
Yeah.
With the bat. So it's scary but intriguing at the same time, knowing that was real.
No,
knowing
totally.
that was people like that like that. So Casino was a very big eye-opening movie for me.
Yeah.
Growing up. So
love Casino.
Yeah.
I love Casino. Real quick, I want to address some comments here. Nene in the house. What up, Nene? Let me give you a little shout out right here before you leave my live. And then you think I didn't give you a shout out when I did, and you asked me for my autograph on your butt cheek. Absolutely, I can do that for you.
Get a tattoo?
It needs to be smooth though. I don't like all that hair, bro. So take care of that first. Steve just asked you a great question.
We debated about that one a lot, actually.
Yeah, and that's kind of what inspired. We got it hanging back here, right? And Double A, talk a little bit about this, guys. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, you can see hanging behind us. We've got two large posters. One is of the Godfather, obviously one of the icons of mafia films, if not the, main one. But the other is the Warriors. And Steve's asking in our chat here, what do we think about the Warriors? Well, I can tell you this: we both love it.
Love it.
And in fact, your poster has a cool story to it.
Yeah, so about a few years ago, the Warriors came to Alamo City Comic-Con at the Alamo Dome, and I was able to meet about 7 of them, 7 of the main Warriors. Very cool. They were all lined up. They all had it. I got Vermin. He wrote. I got the big one.
I got the big one.
The Fox, and the one that dies on the train.
Yeah.
Cochise. Swan.
Very cool.
Swan right here. I got to meet Swan. I forget her name. Mercy. I got to meet Mercy.
That's right.
She was very nice. Cleon, the leader, the one that dies
in
the beginning.
Yeah, Cleon.
And then Ajax, probably the most well-known one.
Yeah, because he came out in a lot of other stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot
no
of
wimps.
They all have quotes James Remar from 48 Hours. And, I mean, just a whole bunch of shit. Django Unchained, he comes out in the beginning.
That's right. That's right. He's in Django Unchained.
So it was very cool. And it was a really cool moment for me and my wife. They had like a big screen up there, and right that moment, that's when you hear, what's his name?
Cyrus.
Mm-hmm. No, not Cyrus. T-Bird's character.
Shit, from the Rogues, the leader of the Rogues.
Yeah. Well, anyways, where he's clinking the bottles, right?
Yeah.
And he's saying Warriors. It's up on the monitor, and all of them look up, and they all had like this like straight face, and it's like, damn, they're about to go to battle again.
That's pretty badass. That's pretty badass.
I love the movie. It's kind of set like in the future, right?
No,
supposedly?
I believe it takes place in its regular time. I think.
Okay. So I always love this poster. These are the armies of the night, 100,000 strong. They outnumber the cops 5-1. They could run New York City, but they're out to get the Warriors tonight. So, and it's very cool. It's just a very cool poster. All the gang colors, the vest, everything.
Steve asked that here in the chat. Double E says, did they bring the vest?
Yes, they did. Swan is actually selling the vest, and I should have got one, and I didn't.
What were they running?
With the autograph, I think it was like a little over 100.
Oof.
Yeah.
But damn, to have that vest though.
Yeah. I know, but each of them were charging 40. So we're like,
to get all of them, so that's pretty good.
That was pretty cool. I think it was a cool moment, and I had pictures with all of them. So that was pretty damn cool.
So guys, if you've never seen the movie The Warriors, I got turned on to it again by my sister's ex-boyfriend John. He was a buff aficionado of that, not only comedy films we talked about on her episode, but that movie. He was like, man, I can't believe you've never seen this. 'Cause he's a little bit younger than me, and I was like, no, I'll check it out. Fell in love with it after one viewing.
And again, you introduced me.
I was gonna say, I think I was the one telling you to check it out.
Yes, you did.
You became a bigger fan than me.
Yeah, so I loved it. I fell in love with it. I think it's a great movie. It's they get blamed for a murder of the biggest gang leader in the whole city, and they're literally running behind enemy lines trying to get out of New York City. Mm-hmm. It's a great, intense thrill ride. I mean, they encounter gang after gang after gang, just trying to kill them. It's fucking merciless, man. Merciless.
My sister, you guys, Antonio Amy, who you've seen on this show before and heard on this show before, she did a great costume one year. She borrowed a costume from Foxy Roxy, the Rockford Peach from A League of Their Own. Yes. But she painted her face like a baseball Fury.
The Furies.
One of the baseball. So I was like, wow, that's a neat combo costume. You're like a female baseball Fury. So if you know the movie The Warriors, the baseball Furies were this badass gang with baseball
they're right
bats.
here. I know you really can't see it, but they're up in the front. They're one of the more recognizable faces of the Warrior
They
movies.
did the face paint, and they were dressed like baseball players, and they carried baseball bats. But there were so many other gangs. The high hats, they wore high hats, like top hats, and they looked a certain way. And then you had, like we said, the Rogues. There was the Turnbull ACs. They actually made a video game about it, which was odd.
That's right. They did.
Years later, they made that game.
Yeah, when it got like rediscovered again.
Right. One of those things that get blew up, and then everyone caught on to it. And we were playing that game, and it's like, you have their hideout, you train, you just work out, and then you go out and you bust heads or whatever. It was a pretty cool little game.
So we love the Warriors. We think it's right up there. We think it's a great gang movie. We love it. Again, everything's there. The colors, the vest, how they spray paint out the other gang members, symbols and
cool characters, cool lines,
very colorful.
You know what I mean? Like it's
very quotable.
A movie
very quotable.
If it's on, you want to watch it. You know what I mean? Like I don't think I own a copy. There's a weird reason for that. I think that
I don't like the copy I have.
Yeah. Okay.
I hated the special edition they did because they kind of put in comic book stuff. And they kind of take away a lot of things. Like I like the original version.
Okay, the theatrical
than the one I have.
Interesting.
So
is that a Blu-ray or is that?
It's a Blu-ray, but man, like I say, it's different. It kind of changes up a little bit.
See, sometimes I'm always waiting for like a good copy, like a good transfer. Is it on Blu-ray? Is it not? You know what I mean? So it just really depends. So for me, I don't own a copy yet, but I would 100% own a copy of that movie. And multiple watcher. I mean, I've seen it multiple times.
Same here.
It hits all of the things that are there. So we considered it because it's a gang movie about gangs. You know what I mean? So
great soundtrack too.
Yeah,
great soundtrack. That's another thing that you'll see like a lot of these in common is a lot of these gang movies, mobster movies, crime movies. They all really always have great soundtracks. Don't you think, Sam?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And maybe we can thank Martin Scorsese for that. Really,
that's true. The Mr. Rolling Stones loves to put the Rolling Stones in his what is it? Give Me Shelter.
Yeah,
Give Me Shelter is like in all of the Scorsese's. You'll know that song if you hear it. If you don't know,
Can You Hear Me Knocking? Casino. Heart of Stone. That's another good Rolling Stone one. I think he plays a shitload in The Departed. I think. I'm not sure.
There's some good stuff in there. But one of my favorites from Dropkick Murphys, Shipping Up to Boston, play it twice in The Departed.
What about you, Sam? What was like the first one that you're like, you know what, man? I really like this genre of mobster movies. So what was your first one?
For me, I would think that it's hard for me to remember what was the first. And guys, just a reminder that I do take a little. We don't turn off the Facebook Live. We'll still be here with you. We'll read some more comments and answer questions. But I take a quick 2-minute break for our audio stream so that it can load in and boot or whatever. We're getting near that, but when we get there, I'll let you guys know. But for me, I think if I had to think back, the first one I remember kind of seeing was Scarface.
Okay,
I remember it kind of like maybe being on. It was like on. I don't know if my dad was like watching it or whatever. Of course, the voice very quotable. Al Pacino's role. So many quotable lines, so many parts that now as an adult you watch are kind of funny. I mean, I hear some people think that it's like kind of like not, it's like an over the top, it's not over the top.
And I want to really kind of dig into this because I saw a documentary on Showtime, which I highly recommend. It's called Cocaine Cowboys, which I'm pretty damn sure this is where they really got it from. Those guys were fucking wild. They were out of control. Those Colombians, Cubans, everything you see in Scarface, they did for real. They shot people in daylight. In dark everywhere. I mean, it's brutal. That Cocaine Cowboys, it's called Cocaine Cowboys. They usually show it on Showtime a lot, and pretty much they say the state of Florida is built on drug money from the 80s, 70s, and 80s from all those Colombians and Cubans that were there during that time.
So what a neat tie-in to that is Double A is, and they maybe I haven't seen that documentary you're talking about. They show him, but when you're watching Tiger King, they talk to this one guy who's down there. He talks kind of like Tony. And they say that he's kind of the basis for Tony. He had the Tigers there at his thing. He was kind of a known gangster, and he owned Tigers or whatever. And he's alive though. I mean, like he doesn't have like an end like Tony's, but when you hear him talking, it made me be like, man, I want to look up more. I can't think of his name right now, but maybe want to look up more about him and learn. I was like, holy shit, this guy's like the basis for Tony Montana. And he legit had the money to do it, obviously, because they were saying how his money kind of came from coke and all that. But that was like it's a cool little part about like people that own big cats in Florida, you know, like Joe Exotic and all them. Guys, we're going to take a quick break on the audio, and we'll be right back. Guys, if you're joining us on the Facebook Live, obviously we're not going anywhere. We're still here hanging out with you.
Guys, if you need a refill, get one right now because I'm going to get one right now.
There you go. Get yourself a refill. Let me check out some comments here. Steve says, AA, you're right. The original is the best.
Yeah,
totally.
Steve.
He says the chainsaw part in Scarface was the best.
Ooh, brutal.
So, Steve,
brutal.
Referencing that, the guy that I'm mentioning from Tiger King, the real life guy that is still alive right now, that they say is the basis for Tony Montana, they tell that story, and that story is based on a story that, of course, he says he didn't take part in, but was there for when they kill the guys in the shower. That's a story that is really from that guy's life. So I'll try to look up his name and post it in later on. Who else is joining in here, guys?
Jeremy.
Jeremy says, for me, Goodfellas was my intro.
Very
to
nice, Jeremy.
movies.
Very nice.
Cannot go wrong with that. We're definitely going to talk more about
your grandpa
Goodfellas.
is huge on those. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Grandpa is definitely a big fan of those movies. Chuck is here. Big Chuck is here. He says, I'm at your house, son. That's good to know, Dad. Thanks. I'm glad to know you're there. Crystal is there. She says, I love Boardwalk Empire.
I never seen it, Crystal, but CM's sister and co-host of this show as well. She loves it. Says it's a great show. I know Steve Buscemi was huge in that show, so
yeah,
I want to check that one out.
Nucky. Yeah, she has always encouraged me to get it, to watch it. Crystal, she has it on DVD, I think, not Blu-ray, but she owns it. She even has this really cool collector's glass with like the kind of like the wingtip shoe on there. So I've heard nothing but good things. I definitely want to watch it. So yeah, Boardwalk Empire would definitely talk about it. Steve says, I believe it. Oh yeah, the chainsaw story. Yeah, for sure. Let me take a look on our audio, guys, see if we're not quite done yet. They're on the process.
Guys, if you have any suggestions of movies, throw them out there. So I can see what maybe I've missed. I didn't even hear about that Charles Bronson one. I want to go check it out because I love Charles Bronson. So thanks, Steve.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna get right back into the topic, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. We're back. We're talking all things mob movies.
Yeah. Right now we're talking Scarface.
Yeah. One of the things I mentioned, guys, during the our audio listeners, Steve in our chat commented in. And again, remember, if you're listening to us on audio and you ever want to join in live on the Facebook Live, we do go live every Friday night so that you could come and join in the conversation, whatever the topic is about this week, all things mafia, mob, gangster movies, whatever you want to call it. But Steve mentioned the chainsaw scene in Scarface.
Brutal scene.
Telling AA before the break, the guy in the Tiger King show of all places that owns the Tigers, whatever they show him, that they say I think is the basis for the Tony Montana character. He talks about that scene in the Tiger King or whatever, and he was like, oh yeah, that scene's kind of based on a situation that he was in that he claimed he did not take part in. But not. You know, of course you got to say that. I mean, the guy's alive and like living his life with the big tiger. So I mean, I guess it's all good. But
CM, no, Scarface. I mean, what do you think of it? What was like your first impression when you saw it?
Well, I mean,
I think a lot of people kind of get the wrong message about the movie.
Yeah.
Great movie, but I think a lot of them get the wrong message about it.
You know, it's funny because I heard this comedian that I like a lot, John Mulaney. Okay. He does this thing. He does a bit about that. And he goes, I always get upset when people compare The Godfather and Scarface and talk about them in the same thing. No. He goes, because to me, he goes, one is really great, The Godfather, and the one is like almost like comical or whatever. Now, I don't feel like that.
I wouldn't say it's comical at all. I don't think Scarface is comical whatsoever.
I think it feels over the top, but it's also an 80s movie, and it's about 80s excess, and it's about, my first thoughts of it were not necessarily that, like, oh, I thought Tony was this cool guy that I thought, like I wanted to be or anything like that. I just thought that it was like an interesting story of a guy's rise from nothing and then his eventual descent. Like, he took in too much, too fast, too hard.
The Tony Montana character is a bad person, horrible person that will, stoop to violence for whatever. He doesn't care about a lot of things, he's just all about getting to the top where he thinks he should be.
Yeah.
It's very admirable quality, but the way he does about it is just very brutal. It's a very brutal. Now, I don't know how anyone can really think Scarface is comical. Maybe it's because over the years it's been so quoted and it's been sung about, but there's nothing comical about Scarface. It's a scary situation like the chainsaw situation.
Oh yeah. I mean, fuck yeah, that's scary as fuck.
That the one who plays Angel, his face is, when And they're doing the chainsaw. He's like, like that's a horrible situation to even think about to be in, for some drugs, for some drugs. You're gonna die in this shitty ass motel, being chainsawed to death. I mean, that's ugly. And then the way he kills, Ecto, out in the street, just boom.
Yeah. They just didn't give a fuck. But I mean, looking back, I mean, like, and again, for me, I didn't see those things about Scarface that I guess can be funny until later, which, him and Manny bullshitting, like that's looking at the girls and being like, he's like, put that fucking tongue away, man. You look like a lizard, man.
I mean, there's good moments like that, but I mean, for it to, it's just, it's a brutal movie, even the way he kills Manny, I'm sorry if I ruined it, but
spoiler alert,
but it's been around for like
83.
It's been around for a good while.
And I just think, that part was shocking to me. Like, that was his friend.
He kills his best friend.
You have, it's Mary Elizabeth.
Yes,
Master Antonio.
Yes,
as does his sister is Gina, and that whole scene is like freaky. Like, you're like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like a crazy. I mean, Scarface is a whirlwind. I love it. So that was like kind of like my introduction, I guess, and it was kind of like seeing people that got power by taking it, you know what I mean? And they got money by taking it. They got women by taking it, you know what I mean? And it's like, that I think maybe is like what I kind of like about mob movies, because it's not something that you would do, but when you're seeing this, when I think about Goodfellas, Goodfellas got mentioned in the chat earlier, and by Jeremy, great film. And by the way, yes, hi Crystal, thank you for joining us on the live. Cheers
for my cowboy cup.
Oh no, Darth Vader.
Cheers, Crystal.
Yeah,
we them boys, Crystal.
Y'all them boys.
Well, that's what I meant. I wasn't talking about
no, for sure. And so what I liked about Henry Hill, and especially as I got older, is I'm like, this guy didn't fucking work. Like, he didn't have a job, but he got to have money and cars and women. And I was like,
it shows a pretty cool point. But it shows like in the beginning, like he sees how his dad is, always angry.
Yeah.
Just always pissed off about his situation, that his work sucks. He comes home and, he's got these kids and he doesn't have enough money to provide. So he's like, you know what? Fuck this. This is what it means to be an honest worker, 9 to 5. No, I don't want to be like that. I see these other guys around the corner, these fucking mobsters driving these suits, badass cars,
good
hanging out,
cars,
laughing,
right. And jewelry on and shit. I didn't have any jewelry, or I would have wore a pinky ring, but yeah, man. I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like if like we see celebrities now. I mean, like back then, the mob, the real mob, the mafia was like celebrities because people wanted to be like them that didn't know the ugly side. But like now we look at celebrities, right? We look at like a Brad Pitt or whoever, and we're like, oh man, I want to like look like that, have that lavish lifestyle, or Clooney or whatever. And it's like, if somebody told you you could get that by maybe just knocking off of work for the day, take a bag and go to a truck and boost this truck, it's like it might be enticing or whatever, which is like what a guy like Henry Hill did, back in the 50s, stealing cigarettes, whatever the fuck they're doing, you know what I mean?
Goodfellas.
Yeah.
What do you think? It was a big eye opener for me when I first saw it. I immediately thought it was better than Casino.
Yes, I agree. I saw it first. I know it came out first also. I saw that one before I saw Casino.
It second.
Yeah, so you watch them in reverse.
Yes.
And it's funny for you to say that I introduced you to Casino because I know I read the book, your copy of the book. I read the book, that book from you, and then I also read the Goodfellas book, Wise Guys by that's what they
Nicholas Pileggi.
In the book, Nicholas Pileggi, they call them Wise Guys, not Goodfellas. They changed it for the movie, but yeah, man. I mean, for me, it was an eye opener. The part I especially think about is when Henry's wife, Lorraine Bracco, is talking about when she meets the wives, the mob wives, and she's like, "Man, this is what it was like. I thought it was all like romantic, the Cosa Nostra, the mob, And she's like, "These women look bad. They had bad hair, bad, they wore bad suits. You know what I mean? Like, because she came from money, like real
too much
money,
makeup, everything.
Right. And so it was interesting to see it like that because it kind of makes you think sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, in some versions of the mob, it is like glamorous, like The Godfather, you know what I mean? You see people look nice, they're well dressed, all that, they look up, but in other, you get this other version where it's kind of like the tracksuits and like it's just kind of like, you know, like you've got money but you don't really got money, like you still are living in the hood or whatever, you know. So it's a very interesting dynamic, but I absolutely love Goodfellas. Great dialogue, great characters.
The beginning blew me away before like even kind of like it hits to like the credits and the music, you know. It's, you know, they're driving, it's like Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Ray Liotta, and then you know they're driving and you keep hearing something like this, like
right.
And they're like, what the fuck is that? All right, pull over. And it's like some guy that they just fucking killed or like they thought was dead in their trunk. And then you see like Joe Pesci get out this big ass fucking butcher knife, start stabbing him. And then Robert De Niro comes with his gun and shoots the guy like 3 times. And you're just like, damn, what a fucking opening.
I mean, it lets you know right away what you're in for, right? You're like, okay, this is like, you know, and then you've got that great line by Henry, where he says, ever since I was a kid, I knew I wanted to be a gangster.
Yeah. And then he slams it.
You know, and it's cool that you get that. I even like that part where the cops stop him and he's telling him, he's like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. Like he keeps telling him it's okay. And they're like, no, it's not.
He's not
okay.
Like a 15-year-old kid.
Yeah. You know, and then you've got that part where it says, they tell him, you took your first pinch like a man, and you've got like the older gangsters there greeting him or whatever. They're all like, yeah.
He's like, yeah, you popped your cherry.
Right. You know, and you've got like De Niro there, like young De Niro, like looking like a badass.
Yeah, so like De Niro in this movie plays a real life gangster named Jimmy Conway. And I think it's different in the movie, or Jimmy the Jet Conway. And this dude was not like an Italian. He was an Irish Jewish mobster and big earner for the mob. So that's who he plays, kind of like a different role. Joe Pesci plays like this Italian kid that grew up with Henry. Real quick too, if you guys have like ESPN Plus, there's a great 30 for 30 that with Henry Hill, and it kind of attaches that to Goodfellas, where he was actually betting on college games and paying college students to
shave
throw
points.
Game. Yeah, shaving points. That's a really good 30 for 30. And when they bust him for, you know, some of the other stuff, he tells them too about, well, you know what, I was betting on, you know, games too. And they're like, wait, what? You know, that's illegal too. So you guys check it out. You got like a 30 for 30. If you got that ESPN Plus, check that one out. It's a really good story on Henry Hill. And he comes out too. Henry Hill does come out on that episode too.
Nice. He's now passed, the real one.
Yeah, he passed away. Yeah.
Let me see here. Steve says in the comments here, Peaky Blinders, British gangsters.
I've heard that one good.
I have heard good things. In fact, I just saw that the gal that we like from the Queen's Gambit comes out in there. The Anya Taylor-Joy comes out.
Okay.
And Steve, you also said the address for the hoodie and the cap. Excuse me. I'm not sure where you ordered from, but it should ship to you depending on how you set it up. But if not, don't worry. I'll get with you off the line.
Crystal says too that Boardwalk Empire, it's worth a watch, and it has all the old school gangsters in there from the Prohibition era. Nice. I do love all that. So that's pretty fucking cool.
So you're talking about
Thank you, Crystal.
Yeah, your Al Capones and your
man, I forget their names. I'm sorry.
I know there's like names. The Bonanno family.
Well, not just that, but there's like other like the one gangsters, almost like the what was that Public Enemy? Like John Dillinger, kind of like those kind of guys.
Right.
Yeah, like the one names like the Babyface, you know, this and the guys that had the nicknames, you know.
I know we talked about like Lucky Luciano.
Yes. Like all that. That's from like all that Prohibition era. Right. Yes.
Bugsy Siegel, those type of guys too. So we're going to talk a little bit about those guys as well.
But, so Goodfellas, guys, I mean, it's a good movie. There's really not too much to say
negative at all.
It's always considered Scorsese's like masterpiece mobster movie.
Yeah.
It's Goodfellas. And I would agree with that.
I would agree too. I have a really nice kind of like a book version of it. That's the version I got. Nice. It's a Blu-ray book version. Very, very beautiful, clean copy. Massive rewatchability, a must own, as not even in the genre of mob movies, just in movies, period. In all movies, I think it's always consistently on like 100 greatest lists. Always movies of all time, guys, not just mafia mob movies. It's always there. So
poster is very iconic too. Always a very when you see that poster, you know it's Goodfellas.
Again, quotable, the funny lines, the Joe Pesci character. You know what I mean?
The soundtrack, that Henry Hill meme. You know, Ray Liotta laughing. That's become like a big meme.
even in the Animaniacs cartoon, they did the Good Feathers,
the Good Pigeon, or whatever it was. Yeah. I love those.
They're called Good Feathers.
Yeah,
and I remember watching that before. I think I'd seen Goodfellas, so I didn't really get the reference. But now looking back, it's so hilarious.
I saw it afterwards, and man, I fucking cracked up at that. I love those. I love those pigeons.
Yeah. What am I, a clown here to amuse you? You know what I mean? So, all right, Double A. Let's go to the other one we kind of talked about, Scorsese. I mean, like if there was going to be a big 3 or big 4 or even big 5 of mob movies, I mean, you cannot talk about. You almost talk about them hand in hand. Maybe because the 2 of the primary characters, De Niro and Joe Pesci, but Casino. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you've got the true story of Sam. Well, in the movie, Sam Rothstein is
Sam Ace Rothstein.
Sam Ace Rothstein. Yeah. But the real guy's name was
Lefty Rossendale.
Frank Lefty Rosenthal. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. So there was a real guy. This real hotel was the Stardust, right?
Stardust. Stardust Hotel.
In the movie, it's the Tangiers.
Yes.
But pretty much it's a straight. Do you know why they couldn't use the?
I don't know.
Because maybe
I don't know.
But yeah,
maybe they don't want to be associated with that anymore.
Probably. Who knows? But yeah, the movie's very accurate. I read the book that Double A had. It's just called Casino. Like I said, the book for Goodfellas is called Wise Guy, because that's what they said. In the movie, he says, "Well, we were good. We were good fellas." They says we were wise guys. But in Casino, it's just called Casino, and then they just have the real names there. But pretty much, I mean, like
like Joe Pesci's character, Nicky. The real character's name is Anthony Spilotro, one of the most violent gangsters you'll ever read about. Super violent. He was there to protect the Chicago outfit's interest in the casino business, which was doing big business, just huge business. Really great movie, really great look into like how much the mob had their roots synced into Las Vegas.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, the mob really owned Las Vegas at one point.
Where the bosses in the movie, I know he says the bosses were out of Kansas City. Were they really?
Yes, they were.
They were out of Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
So who knew? I don't associate Kansas City.
That's why I said, like, they sent like Joe Pesci's character over there to protect their interest in that. They're like, that's why they tell those guys, nah, he was in the other hotel.
Right.
I was like, okay, we better go to this other hotel.
Yeah, I think even the hole in the wall gang thing.
That's a real thing.
That was all real.
That's a real thing.
The robberies, and he was a real gangster in Vegas.
Ginger's a real character. She is everything that they show her in the movie. Sharon Stone character. She was just a bad wife. But he kind of knew what he was getting into. She told him she didn't love him, but he still wanted to marry her.
He said, he covered his bets. You know what I mean? Sam. But no, I love Casino. A really long movie. It doesn't feel long. It doesn't feel long though. I don't think.
No.
Do I like it over Scarface or Goodfellas? No, I don't.
At one time, it was mine until I just started seeing the other movies, and it kind of started going down for me.
Yeah.
It's still a good movie. Joe Pesci's very intimidating.
Oh yeah.
In that movie, you'd be surprised. Seeing him like in like a Lethal Weapon, where he plays that, that
a goofball.
Yeah, and even like Goodfellas. He's pretty tough in that one, but nowhere near like as scary as Casino.
Oh, I know. Yeah, definitely. You definitely get a real maniacal vibe from his character in Casino. But no, I love that too. I love it's like Joe Pesci's like a little guy, but they make him like one of the toughest guys.
Yeah. And the dude was not a big dude either. Anthony Spilotro. Yeah. He was not a big dude either. He's about the same size as Joe Pesci, for real, and just he had that reputation. He's a very violent gangster, But I like Casino. Good soundtrack, good movie, pretty good flow. Don Rickles too in a serious role.
That's right. Yeah,
Sharon Stone's really good in that movie. James Woods is really good in that.
I really like an all-star cast. Yeah, you got everyone in there. I always forget his name, but from A Few Good Men, that plays Lieutenant Weinberg, he's in there.
Yes.
His name is escaping me right now, but
something Green, something.
I forget his name too. I don't know.
Yeah,
but just a great cast in Casino. If you haven't seen it, great soundtrack, great movie. Again, I keep saying these things because these are the things I think people like about mob movies, as well as like that they can be funny. There's funny parts. Yeah. They're quotable because it's like these, it's usually Italian American characters that like. It reminds me a lot of Hispanic culture because they're so full of life and they eat this delicious food. Like they're always eating in the movies, and the food, like, I'm like, damn, I get like a hankering for like meatballs when I watch, these Italian movies. And and Italian American mob movies. And again, it reminds me. It's so interesting. I think how there are aspects of those cultures that intersect. You know what I mean? Like, like food is a big thing for them, and it's a big thing for us. We gather around food.
In Goodfellas, remember that one scene when they're all in jail?
Yeah,
and they're making food.
I love that scene.
You know,
yeah. I mean, just talking about it, like, the meats and the bread and all that, or whatever. You know what I mean? But the same thing too, like how they break each other's balls. We all do that. Like that's a part of our, and maybe that's every culture behind closed doors, whatever. But very family oriented. That's a huge thing. You know what I mean? So. I mean, let me take that note right there, Double A, and move talking about family into probably the icon of movies about family, where there is nothing more important. And hanging right here behind us, I got this specifically for this episode, but The Godfather. It's hard to even think about them as single movies almost.
So when I started getting into mob movies, the one movie that everyone kept mentioning to me was Godfather. So I went to Camelot, the store Camelot.
Dating yourself.
Yeah. And this was before DVDs. And I asked my brother, I was like, can you take me to Camelot, please? And I wanted to see if they have the Godfather 1, 2, and 3. Sure enough, they did. They had the box sets, the video box sets of 1, 2, and 3. Snagged them up, saw one that night, and I was hooked immediately. Just immediately. That movie is so fucking good. Marlon Brando is so good. Al Pacino is so good. John Cazale is so good.
Yes.
Robert Duvall, awesome. James Caan is great. Talia Shire, awesome.
What a cast.
I mean, beautiful movie. The marriage, the whole, him, taking all these meetings on his daughter's wedding day. The rivalry with the Tatalias, with Barzini, the 5 families of New York, taking all that stuff, and it was just, I was blown away by The Godfather. So many quotable lines that you have heard of before that you never seen the movie, and you're like, wow, this is where it comes from.
I was definitely in that camp because I think that I watched those movies first with you guys and your brothers. You'd already seen them. Because I was like, I'd seen a lot of mob movies, gangster movies, like those movies, just had never seen that one. I think it was one of those situations where, back in the Blockbuster video days, I'd go to Blockbuster and I'd go to rent something, and it was usually like a new release, so I really wouldn't look around for it. There's specific situations I can remember where I rented older movies. Like, I can remember renting Excalibur. Mm-hmm. I can remember renting Reservoir Dogs. Mm-hmm. But that was one that I don't know what, for whatever reason, it wasn't really like on my radar. In the same way that Citizen Kane wasn't, I knew it was like an iconic movie. I knew it was classic. Again, those are usually number 1 and number 2 on every greatest movie of all time list. The Godfather.
I think it usually really just depends. Like, say you get into wrestling, you want to see like old school wrestling tapes, right? Mm-hmm. That's how it was for me when I saw Casino, Goodfellas, all those.
You want to go back.
I wanted to see like the main one, the one that everyone's always talking about. Sure. So I was eating it up.
Oh yeah.
I was like, give me every fucking Godfather thing you can give me. You know, and I was just blown away. It's made in 1972, and just the way they dress, the way they talk, Al Pacino's performance, Marlon Brando.
How about that score? How about that score that just sucks you right in? You know what I mean?
I mean, that has to be one of the most recognizable pieces of music in history.
Totally. We got to hear Slash play it.
Yes.
From Guns N' Roses while we were there.
I ate it up, and then when Godfather 2, I put Godfather 2 on the next day. Oh man, I like that one even more than Godfather Part 1.
Yeah.
I love the flashback story of the rise of Vito.
Yes.
And kind of like Michael's kind of like downfall. It's not really a downfall, but just of him losing his humanity.
Yeah.
Where you're seeing like the two differences between the father and son, where the father still loved his family, kept his family close, where Michael is losing his family at the same time. All for the same goal, but just different ways of how they were doing it. Michael was becoming more ruthless, more cold, more distant from everyone, where Vito is pulling in his family more, you know?
And kind of wanted to get away from the life of a mobster, of a mafioso. Yeah. It's so funny, right? Because here you have, Vito Corleone, that is this mob leader, you know what I mean? This Don, but is very likable and very lovable,
Very
and very
likable.
like you kind of see him as a straight up family man. Like, man, he was doing everything for his family.
That's what I'm saying. Like in part 2, it really shows the descent of like Michael Corleone losing his humanity slowly.
Why do you think that was, Double A? Was it because of the killing and all that? Why did Michael lose his family? What did he not get from Vito? That Vito was such a family man, and Michael was it because business became more important to him?
Yes, it did. Where Vito kind of balanced it out more, where he knew family was always important.
Mm-hmm.
He had to keep his family close. Business, even if he wanted to kill him, he was like, no, this ain't a good move. Where Al Pacino, Michael Corleone, just wants to kill everyone that gets in his way. Yeah. I mean, it's just brutal. Brutal way to keep their families on top. Different styles, but man, just that's why Tom is like, you got to kill everybody.
Yeah,
and he's like, not everyone, just my enemies. Yeah, it's like,
and it's easy to quickly become the enemy. You know what I mean?
Like Frank Pantangeli, he's like, your father trusted Hyman Roth. He did business with Hyman Roth, but he never trusted him. But that didn't mean he had to go kill him, though.
Right.
Vito knew where the line was. Okay, we'll do business, we'll make money, but keep her distance. Where with Michael, it was like, no, we got to kill Hyman Roth.
Yeah.
We got to. I don't care how it's done, just get it done.
It was like us, and like that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Like Michael was trying to have it just be like the Corleones.
Yeah.
So for sure, man.
I love those two movies so much. I pretty much based one of my birthdays around that.
That's right. I remember that.
I asked my mom if she could just make a whole thing of like spaghetti, like a whole pot of spaghetti.
Yeah.
And I had Godfather on playing like in the living room. And man, I was like 10.
Yeah.
I was like loving these gangster movies like at 10 years old and almost knowing what they're saying, what they're doing, and just being in love with that whole mobster culture, and everything, just being so enamored in it. As like Henry, like how they show Henry Hill being like just being in total awe of it. Like, wow, you can actually live a life like that. Like, wow.
Right. I think that's what makes those movies have like a lot of rewatchability too for me, is because when I've gone back to look at them, I'm picking up something new because like I'm older now, and maybe like, like I don't know if you've watched them.
Yes.
Now that you are a dad, you're a family man now. You're the head of your own family.
It's changed. Anyway,
Yeah,
it's certainly
your views change, right?
Yes, it has.
So when you're watching it like as a young man, you're like, oh man, that's cool. Like they didn't take no shit. They beat the fuck out of these guys or whatever. A guy like Sonny was, like fucking a badass.
Hothead.
And now you look back, you're like, oh, that's like the worst guy, man. You cannot have that guy on your team because he's gonna get people killed. You just think about different things like that. And so, I think I literally did watch those in one weekend over at your mom's house with your brothers. They were like, "You haven't seen them? We're gonna watch them." We had the shades closed.
I mean, you had like all those actors already.
Oh
yeah, most of those actors already.
Definitely.
Robert De Niro takes one section, Al Pacino takes the other. I mean, what better two actors at that time to lead a movie?
The only thing wrong with that Godfather 2, if there's anything to be wrong with the Godfather 2, because it is actually my favorite as well of the three. Because I love the Vito story too, and you got young De Niro as Vito. Is that you don't get to have Vito and Michael on screen together. You get Pacino and De Niro in a movie together, one of the greatest movies of all time, but they don't get to interact because it's a story of the past. But what a great story too. You know what I mean?
Hey, how great is it too that Robert De Niro? That's one of his Oscar wins. And he pretty much is speaking all Italian in that movie.
That's right. That's
I mean, how fucking crazy is that?
Yeah. And just this great story of kind of coming to America again, almost like a Scarface story, but the precursor to that, because these movies set the standard. The Godfathers, it's like it's like coming from nothing, coming up,
especially Vito.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
His family being murdered
at Ellis Island.
Coming to America with nothing.
Yeah,
and rising up to becoming the most powerful gangster in America.
How about the part where they giving them the name? What's your name? And he says it.
Vito Andolini from Corleone.
Yeah, you're Vito Corleone.
Yeah, Corleone.
And that became
Vito Corleone.
That's it. So you're out of here. So,
but his revenge story, how he still remembers that, he still holds it in his head.
Yeah,
it's like okay, we need to go to Sicily now or Corleone, and we need to kill those motherfuckers that killed my family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
See that kind of showed a little bit of the ruthless side of.
If you see the deleted scenes in part 2, you actually see that he kills everyone that was involved with his father, brother, and mother's murder. He kills all those guys. that are still alive. So
and you've got it right here. I believe
Yes.
me and you have the same copy.
Yeah,
This
this
really
was
nice
when it
Blu-ray
first
copy.
came out. When the first very came out. So Godfather, I love this trilogy. Love the movies.
I own that one too. And you
Love
guys know I
everything
always
about it.
say you gotta own it. If would you own it? Would you watch it again? No question.
Man,
when was
no
it coming out?
question.
It used to come out every holiday. They would show them.
It's Thanksgiving for some
Thanksgiving.
reason.
Like, it's a family movie.
It's weird.
So yeah, and I know it was like with TNT or something like that that would show them AMC, and they would show them almost back to back.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And there's that really cool cut where it's like they cut 1 and 2 together.
It's 1 and 2 together. I never found an actual copy that they sell like that, but they show all of the Robert De Niro scenes first, and then it goes into part 1 and part 2.
That's a neat cut.
That is cool. I love it. I love
They should make that a special feature, like on one of the virtual.
And they show all the deleted scenes. They put all the deleted scenes in there, so that's pretty cool.
I feel like if people are watching AA, they're wondering, like, are they going to get to 3? Are they going to talk about it?
We can talk about 3. We can talk about 3 when we come back.
There's something to be said about it. You have your copy of the Coda?
The Coda?
Just to show it?
No, I don't. No,
okay, but we'll talk about it. We're going to talk about it in a minute, guys. Let us take the quick break to let
let's read some comments.
The audio process. And
Okay.
And then we'll do some comments. So give us a second, and then we'll be right back, guys. Of course, if you're joining us on Facebook Live, we're not going anywhere. We're just
we're going to read your comments
process.
Right now.
So let me
Mario. Let's start with Mario.
Okay.
Did you guys like Gangster Squad with Josh Brolin and Sean Penn? Yeah, it was fine. It was okay.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay, it was
I haven't
fine.
seen that one.
It was fine.
I would check it out. Definitely. I love Sean Penn in Carlito's Way.
He kind of is like really out there though. It's Mickey Cohen. He looks really different.
Oh, okay.
Like way different than what Mickey Cohen actually looks like.
Yeah. Well, for every woman that thinks Sean Penn is so handsome, I'm like, go check him out in Carlito's Way. Not so much. No. But I'd check it out. Josh Brolin plays the cop. Is he
yes.
Okay.
So.
Okay. What did you think of it, Mario? Let us hear your opinion on Gangster Squad. Aaron B in the house. What up, y'all? What up, Aaron? Godfather. And don't worry, Aaron, we're going to get to The Departed as well. Mario says, oh, would Vito have killed Fredo like Michael did? No, definitely not. No. Family was everything to Vito.
No one is nearly as ruthless as Michael.
And that's really what, that was the fight. That being the end is so, that is where you're like, you're so separate from your dad. Yes. It's the split. It's the nail.
He would probably get rid of Fredo, maybe send him away, but he would not kill him.
I just think Vito would have found some type of, he would have been able to, whatever was going on with Fredo he was way out of control. He would have been able to rein him in, and he just had that combination of tough, but also gentle, and
he wouldn't have killed Fredo.
Yeah, no way. That's a great question, Mario. Great question, but no, and that is what sets them apart, and that is kind of what will lead you into the conversation on the third one, I think. But we'll read a few more.
And we are going to get into part 3 because
Aaron B says, wow, this one is
okay.
impressive. Love the background. Oh, thank you so much, Aaron. Love
really
the outfits. Oh, well, I had the whole thing on, Aaron, if you saw the beginning, but I can't wear my headsets with the hat, but I got the little I got my little fakey fedora here. Juan has a really nice fedora. I should have bought his fedora, or John. I had the jacket too, but I'm getting more hot as we podcast. Mario says, I love it. Mano a mano street fight Gangster Squad. Okay. Nice. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna go look for, if it's on anything streaming. I'll look it up because I've got
be there.
Prime, Voodoo, Netflix, so it's got to be somewhere. So I switched back to regular Dos Equis, guys. Not nearly as good as that. I'm saving you the other ones.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Okay, hey, pick up one of those. Pick up something in there. There should be either another one of those. Or,
guys, if you need a refill.
If you need a refill, guys, now is your time. Again, this is our time. We read the comments. So, you know what I mean? That's what we got going on. So
join in the conversation, guys.
Yeah, guys. What else? What are we missing? So we can talk about it.
What else do you want us to talk about? Let us know.
But we're going to get right back into the recording part. So we're going to get right back to talking about it. Please continue to comment write in. If we don't address it right away, we will address it. So don't worry about that. Folks on the audio, it sounds like a little blip right there. So we take time to read comments if you're joining us on the Facebook Live version. And so that we're back here. one last comment looks like from Mario. He says you look more like Al Capone than Vito.
Very nice.
I'll take it. Give me I need the
Al Capone was a scary motherfucker.
Call me Scarface, Chicago style.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Guys, so we've been talking about the Godfathers, and we had a really great question in the comments from Mario Delgado that really kicks off us going right into the third part of the Godfather trilogy. And Mario asked, would Vito kill Fredo the way that Michael did? And we just unanimously, me and Double A, were like, absolutely not.
Out of character for Vito.
Vito loved family so much. There is no way that I think he could take his own son's life.
Nope.
I think he was pretty broken after Sonny's death in the original. I mean, it was like, man, he was like, that just shook him. You know what I mean? Like, because that was his son, his firstborn son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yep. So it was like, despite the fact that he was a hothead and
firstborn son is always a favorite of dad's.
Yeah.
It's your firstborn.
They can't kind of help it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
all right, see him. You want to go into the third one?
So
you want to dip your pun?
Let's talk about something. Number one, The Godfather 3 is highly regarded as the least favorite and popular of the Godfathers. People don't like it. They felt like the story was convoluted. It's a crazy plot that you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Dealing with the church. They always kind of have like real life events that happen. Like in first one, it's like World War II. The whole Vegas thing, mobsters taking over Vegas. Part 2 is kind of the continuation of that. With Meyer Lansky actually did try to go to Cuba, CM.
Yeah.
And actually try to get gambling going over there before Fidel Castro regime came in.
Really?
So that is kind of like based on Meyer Lansky's kind of story, except Meyer Lansky didn't get shot like Hyman Roth did.
Right.
So that is kind of always based on like there's always like certain real events based around the Godfather movies.
Yeah.
And it was something about the church going on at that time. One of the popes is like kind of corrupt. And I think that's what they were trying to show in that one.
Yeah. Okay. So I haven't seen the original cut in a while, but I just rewatched the Coda. So Francis Ford Coppola, they just released this year a new cut of The Godfather Part 3, which he actually tells you right in the beginning. He talks and he goes, I never intended for the third movie to be The Godfather 3. He goes, Godfather 3 implies the story is continuing. He goes, the story to him was done in the end of 2, but now it was about the original name that him and Mario Puzo were going to call it was going to be called The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone. That's what he was going to call it. He says that in music, coda means like an epilogue, like an ending of a story, like an afterwards, like an afterthought, like an epilogue in a book, like it's the end, like, oh, and then what happened? You know what I mean? So it's pretty much would be like after Michael killed his own brother, well, then what happened? So pretty much you have him like trying to legitimize himself. And this is what I will say about the Coda. When I watched it recently, I felt like it was structured better. Like the way they moved some things around in the movie. Obviously, they couldn't reshoot anything because all these people are already older. They just moved things around. I think he had some other cuts of stuff. And so he restructured it. I thought it flowed better and it made more sense. Like I felt like at the end of this one, I was like, oh, okay. Like that's what the kind of church thing is going on, whatever. But really the story is about that Michael did not get over that. He did not get over the fact that he killed his own brother. He says it at one part, he breaks down and he says, yeah, I killed my mother's son. Yeah. Like, it's like he knew that was wrong. That is what, if his dad was not the type to turn his back on family, but if Vito was going to turn the back on family, it would be because you killed someone in the family. It was like family never take sides against the family. That's what he says, right? I mean, so that is what Michael did. Michael turned against his own, killed his own brother. You know what I mean? So he's trying to, his son is going to law school, doesn't want to do that, and wants to be a singer.
No, his son does nothing to do with the business.
And him and Kate, is it Kate or K? K. They're long over now. Here's something I do want to say about these movies. Number one, I always love the Italian wife better, Apollonia. That Vito that Michael marries. I think he would have been a much better leader, been much happier had she not have gotten blown up in the fucking car in Italy, which sucked. But I just felt like he was always kind of just like settling with Kay, and she's like, She sucked. I hate that character. I hate
Ooh.
Diane Keaton's character so
Ooh.
bad. There's nothing redeemable about her. She's like, to me, the worst. I think they're meant to be, she's meant to be like a conscience or something, but she just comes off as fucking bitchy and like a nag. And I'm just like, man, you're the worst. Like he was so meant to be with the Italian wife, and that's why you got the shitty part of him, and you deserve it, and you're a bad person. I don't like that character at all. There's nothing redeemable about her.
I'm indifferent. I could care less. Her character, I think, is fine. You know, but I don't think Godfather really revolves around her. So
no, definitely. But I mean, she's kind of like the love interest. But I love the Tom Hagen character. He doesn't come out in part 3.
When she fell in love with Michael, he was this honest war hero. You know,
a Marine.
Yeah, Marine. He was a war hero and wanted nothing to do with the business. Didn't want to kill anyone. You know, wasn't trying to send out people to kill people. You know, she knows what he's doing. She knows he's a bad guy, but I mean, I don't know. It's just you're put in a position where your husband is the most powerful man in America, but he's also wanted too.
I just felt like she was always harping on him for his business, and I'm like, what the fucking family business is like.
Yeah, he
what's
tells
your
her.
deal?
He tells her about the deal Vito made.
Yeah, and then I felt like she just was always trying to antagonize him. Like, I'm like, man, you know that this guy is like a ruthless killer, not a hothead, but like ruthless. You're trying to push his fucking buttons. You know what I mean? Till the very end of part 2, when she's like, I killed your baby. It was a son, Michael, a son. I'm like, man, why would you ever tell somebody that? That is like so.
You can see the anger boiling in that fucking face.
And how great does Pacino play it?
Man.
This is not the screaming Al Pacino.
No, it's not. No.
This is like the cool, calculating.
Yeah.
The man. They should have just delivered the Oscar to the set.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I've always said there's no one that could outact Al Pacino in the 70s. That man was on fire
a great fucking statement.
In the 70s.
Wow, that's a great statement.
Yeah.
Double A. Yeah, man. Pacino in that is the guy's in 2 iconic gangster movies. One vastly more so than the other because of his performance.
Yeah.
Because of his, now, mind you, he plays Tony.
Ruthless. He's ruthless killer.
And great playing the Cuban kind of over the top.
Yes.
And again, if you see the guy in Tiger King, if any of that's true, you'll see it and you'll be like, oh wow, he did play it really well.
But in Godfather too, you see him just as this quiet, ruthless, mobster leader, mob leader, very sophisticated, talks very well, has everything under control.
Yeah, including himself. But how about when those outbursts come? You almost feel like a little bit like, oh shit, like I kind of get a chill. Like
you do when that scene is coming up with Kate.
Oh my god!
When she's telling him that how much she killed him, you're like, wow, I do not want to be in this guy's area.
I thought he was going to strangle her to death.
Even like when he tells Tom, when he gets mad at Tom, when he's like, why can't you give me a straight answer anymore? Yeah. Was it a boy? Yeah. And Tom's like, yeah. And you're just like, fuck. Like,
him too. Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall was great in those 2 movies.
Outstanding, man. In part 1 with the horse head and all that, dealing with it, how he eats his dinner, how he wipes his mouth. Thank you very much for a lovely dinner. I'm like, I fell in love with Tom Hagen.
Yes.
You've got 2 brothers. So I kind of felt like, you guys are like, the brothers, your dad, love your dad so much, respect your dad. He was like a Vito.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I mean?
He was.
So it was like, I was like, wow, but, and I, me being like an outsider, like the cousin, the Irish lawyer, you know what I mean? I felt like, I was like, I related to Tom so much. I love that character. So getting back to part 3 to bring it full circle.
Big crap friend.
Yeah. Him not even being in part 3 is like,
it sucks.
Do you know why?
Yes. So he thought he was just as big as Al Pacino, which I think he was in this movie, that he should have the same amount of pay that Pacino did. Which I think he should have. I think Robert Duvall is just as essential as Al Pacino is in the Godfather movies. I really do believe that.
He was more the conscience to me.
Yeah. So I wish they would have given him the money so he could have came out in part 3. Obviously, he probably was like, man, part 3 kind of looks like it sucks. Maybe I can get money out of this, blah, blah, blah. So they have him where like he died and his son is actually like a priest.
The priest. Yeah. He's there.
Yeah, so I mean, I wish he could have came out, but it sucks that he did it. But yeah, it was pretty much money issues.
That sucks. It kind of sucks for me because I feel like, he spent this time working with Coppola and Puzo, and you would think that I want there to be a good end to this iconic trilogy.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So maybe not the money, but you don't think about it. Him as an actor, I think that maybe, in my opinion, a little bit shitty. But then I also do think about it from the aspect you're saying, where you're like, it doesn't seem like it's going to be that great. I don't really want to insert myself into this.
Tom Hagen is a very essential character to the Godfather movies.
Yeah, I think that could have saved that movie.
It probably could have,
which shows how vital he was. You know what I mean? Because it would have made a better movie.
What do you think about the Andy Garcia Vincent character?
At first, I hated him.
Really?
At first, I was like, I don't like this character. You're the bastard son of Sonny, which I thought that aspect was cool.
Yeah.
Which they essentially imply that he's the son of the bridesmaid he's hooking up with in part
mistress in first one.
Yeah.
It's not implied because she comes out.
Yeah, she comes out. They show her. Right. Yes. I just was like,
I liked his character.
Sold on you.
I liked the Vincent character right from the beginning. I liked it.
After seeing Coda, I liked him better. Like, I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get it. And then, how did you feel about the relationship with like the first cousin?
That was weird. I was actually surprised they put something like that in there.
Yeah, like I was like, that's like, and then like, it doesn't seem like anybody's really bothered by it.
No, it's not. No.
So guys, if what we're talking about is in The Godfather Part 3, Michael Corleone's daughter is played by Mary, is played by Sofia Coppola, who's the director's daughter.
Very young in that movie.
Very young in that movie. And now a famous director.
She might be like 18. She might have been just 18.
It may be. Yeah, I know that. She gets the movie takes a lot of heat because of her bad acting. It says that she was a very bad actress in it or whatever. I mean, I didn't feel like she was such a central character that her acting needed to be
and she
that
wasn't.
great. She's playing a young girl.
Yeah, she wasn't essential.
She's playing a young girl that essentially is smitten with her older cousin, which that's weird. It's like your first cousin. So
which I don't know. Weird. Maybe it's because they didn't maybe consider him part of the family. Maybe because he's from, he's illegitimate. He's from an outside marriage.
But by blood, there's
no by blood for sure. Yeah, because that's her uncle's son.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So that part was like a little bit interesting, but then it was also kind of like
that was weird. I think they could have done without that.
Old country shit, maybe or whatever. I mean, like anytime incest plays a part, you're kind of like
that's
thrown
just
off
weird.
by
That's
it.
just really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird.
That was a really weird story.
So, and then like I think I was more taken aback by the fact that like Michael wasn't like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
he wasn't.
Because he's real cool about it. He's like, well, what's going on with you and my daughter? And then he's like, you gotta break it off and blah blah. And he pretty much wants to lead the bench. So after seeing Coda, I liked him a little bit better because I think I remember thinking of him as kind of like a scumbag, but then I kind of was like, oh, okay, he kind of did just want to be the next guy or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I like the Vincent character. I like that he was Sonny's son. According to Francis, he was supposed to be all the Corleone's best qualities wrapped into one. Michael's ruthlessness, Vito's cunning, Fredo's sensitivity, Sonny's, hot-headed rage. He was supposed to be the absolute perfect Corleone wrapped into one. And
interesting.
I think he does a good job. Andy Garcia has a good look. I've always, he looks fine, even though he's like Puerto Rican, I believe. I think he's Puerto Rican or Cuban.
He's like Latin nationality. I know that. For sure.
He looked fine. He was suave.
He did great. Good. Yeah, he looked good.
Him and what's his name? CM, the one who does Fat Tony's voice.
Joey Zaza.
Yeah. I mean, their feud was pretty fucking funny. The way they just hate on each other. Montana.
Joe Montana.
Yeah, Joe Montana.
Yeah, that shit was funny. He fucking bites his ear.
They just hate each other. They just hate each other bad.
And that's a cool death too on the horse, just like the cop.
Yes.
Like that's and then all that shit's going on in the streets. That's pretty cool.
It was almost like a part 2, right?
Yeah, like a thing. Yeah,
Fanucci.
Like a little tribute.
Vito and Fanucci. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool, man.
Overall, though, the movie's not the best. It's not one of the better mobster movies, but it has a lot of good qualities. The ending part is so fucking sad. When she dies. Dies.
When I just watched Coda, like I got choked up. I was like,
it's bad. It's awful because you see Al Pacino because he's still so good in this role where he's just like in so much pain.
That part's well directed. That's good directing by Coppola because you get the scene first where he's got her in his arms and there's no audio. No. You just see his face and all this pain. So you're not hearing that.
She does a good job too because at first she's like, Dad.
Yeah.
And then she looks down. And there's just a big hole in her.
And imagine that when they're filming that, she's probably saying that to her dad.
Yeah.
So she's looking right into the camera saying that to her dad.
And,
so
like
that's
I have
so
a daughter
neat.
too, so now seeing that part, it's just like, golly, And you're saying that Al Pacino, I read on commentary, like Al Pacino's yells are like so horrible, so awful that they're like, wow, like he did a lot. He put a lot into that.
Yeah, I'm getting like kind of choked up thinking about that scene.
Yeah, so man, it's like a ruthless ending for a ruthless man, and it's pretty much assumed that after that he was just like, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah,
and he goes to Italy because they flash forward to like a number of years, and he's old, and you can tell he's in Italy, and he just dies by himself. He distanced himself in part 2, and in part 3 he dies all alone. And that's kind of sad.
3, they're already millionaires. The Corleone family, they're respected by the church.
But how sad is that too? The way he just dies, he dies lonely.
Well, how about this? Let me tell you this, if you don't mind. Spoiler alert.
Go ahead.
So Coda ends a little bit different in the fact that you don't see him die.
Okay.
It cuts off before that.
Okay.
So it almost, I don't know if that makes it more tragic or less, but it's definitely a different, it gives the movie a different feel.
I felt bad when I saw him when they show him in Italy and he's just by himself.
Yeah, that's the same. All that's the same.
Because in part 2, when he's by himself, you don't feel bad for him when he's by himself at the end of part 2.
No.
This one though is just he is just lonely.
Yeah,
like
that reminded me of Vito's death too. You know what I mean?
But I mean, Vito still had people around him that loved him.
Yeah,
I don't think there was that many people that loved Michael.
It's almost a contrast, right?
Yes,
it's a contrast to Vito's death, where it's a similar place and that, but one he's playing with the grandson and he's having fun. He's playing with
Anthony.
Yes. Yeah. So it's very different feel.
Very different.
Very sad. Very.
So I thought it was a really good ending, beginning to good ending. So that's the way I felt.
Yeah, yeah. So that's our take on The Godfather 3, guys. I mean, again, I think
it deserves all the praise that it gets. It's such a powerhouse movie.
3. Or
no,
The Godfathers.
Godfathers. Yeah.
And there are some great performances in 3 that are, I think, worth watching once through.
Yeah. Now, even Talia kind of ups her game.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. She's really great in that, too. Yeah. Under rated performance in that one. But, yeah, I mean, if you told us I've only ever seen 1 and 2, it's like I wouldn't, like, peer pressure you to go watch 3 or whatever. You know what I mean?
I've tried seeing part 3 a few times. It's hard to watch the whole thing. You can appreciate the little things, but it's hard to watch the whole thing.
I would say this, Double A, for you, Coda is worth watching. In the Coda form.
I have it. So it still piqued my interest, even when it got, when the news broke out. I was like, I'm buying it. I'm not going to buy it.
Yeah.
I'm buying it. So.
At the end of the day, that performance by Pacino is still there, and it's still very, very great. So I'm going to read one comment real quick. Steve says, well, if you remember, he wanted it and took over from the beginning at the hospital. Michael, that is. Yeah, that absolutely, man.
But absolutely. I think if nothing happened to Vito, I think he would have been fine if he just married Kay and it would have been, husband and wife. I think he would have been fine with that too. Instead of getting into the business, like if Vito had not been shot, I think he would have been fine. Him and Kay living some ordinary life and he would have been happy. I think he would have been happy about that.
It's always that story, right? Where, it reminds me of Braveheart, the way you put it. It's like, William Wallace wanted to live this quiet life, get married, be a farmer, but circumstances happen. Destiny, call it what you will, calls you away. And that's what happened. Michael got, as he said, they pull me back in. You know what I mean? So it just is what it is. So that's like we said, that's The Godfather Part 3. Double A, let's move on.
Okay, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go now?
I'm gonna talk briefly about this only because I think we both said that we'd never seen it to each other, but that we watched a little bit. I watched a little bit of it today, and I'd seen like all of season 3. So talk a little bit about shows, because we did get a comment from Friday Nighter Crystal who mentioned Boardwalk Empire. My sister, Untamable Amy, is a huge fan, has seen them all, and praises the show highly. And she knows I like mob stuff, so she's always trying to push it on me, and I just have not had a chance to watch it. But the show I'm thinking of and talking about is The Sopranos. Did you get to watch any? I know
No. So when I was in my gangster phase, because this came out like around 97, 98, I thought it was kind of like, I saw the trailers from HBO and I thought, man, this is kind of like just a knockoff of like the Scorsese stuff. So I kind of just blew it off.
Yeah.
And then you just started hearing about it from like about season 2, season 3, just what a masterpiece it was. Because like we were talking about, HBO wasn't really known, I don't think, for their shows. I think Sopranos was kind of like their first really big show.
Where shows were getting bigger budgets. It felt like these really long movies.
Yeah.
The writing was getting really well done, and you were getting so invested in these characters.
But James Gandolfini, golly,
man,
really came out, became a big guy, big time star. Then you had all these guest appearances from so many people from all the other Scorsese movies,
right?
Coming in and filling around the Sopranos, and it lasted for like what, about eight
I think
seasons?
So. I think so.
And I know it was like at one point it was almost like 2 years that people had to wait till the season came back. So
and then famously, I don't know what the end is, but famously has a very lackluster ending. People felt let down.
Yeah, I was like, golly, people are so disappointed.
That sucks to hear that about that. To know that if you're going to start watching it, you're going to eventually get to that. But I started watching it this week in preparation for this episode, and I got through about 4 episodes, and I was laughing, but it was very funny because it's a very different. Like, there's number one, they talk about a lot of stuff from the movies that we're talking about right now. Like in one part, the very famous. The nephew of Tony Soprano is that Michael Imperioli's character,
Spider, right?
Yes, Spider. And he at one point says, he's like, I got friends in LA and they told me that I could sell my life story and I could even play myself. And Tony grabs him, he's like, "Oh, you going Henry Hill on me?" Like, it's like, what the fuck? Like, okay. And then later on, his buddy gets killed in like this is season 1 of the first 4 episodes, guys. If you haven't seen this shit, spoiler alert. But his buddy gets killed, Michael Imperioli's friend, whatever, because he's like kind of a fuck up, and he gets shot through the eye. Yeah. And later on, the other old heads are like, they did him Mo Green style or whatever. And you're like, what? And he's like, through the eye, it means something, whatever. And then later on, he's like, again, the nephew is like, Luca Brasi suits with the fish. He's like, you're fucking saying it all wrong. It's not even right. Like, it's just so funny. I'm like, wow, in the first couple episodes, they make a lot of references to that, those movies, the movies we're talking about. So I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of neat or whatever. But of course, you've got the Lorraine Bracco, again, when I mentioned she plays Henry Hill's wife, and in Goodfellas, she plays his therapist. So that's kind of where the story hinges, is that he's having these panic attacks and he has to start going to therapy. And there's parts of it where you're right, where I feel like I'm like, oh, like they're gangsters and they're doing gangster shit. They're mafia. But there's other parts where I'm like, oh man, like y'all are fucking like y'all are muscling kind of weak. Like, I'm like, man, this shit's kind of like, y'all kind of suck or whatever.
Territory is what, Jersey?
Jersey. Right? Yeah, I think he's the boss of North Jersey or the
like an underboss,
the
right?
capo.
Yeah,
the captain.
There you go.
He's the captain. Yeah, and there's another boss, but that boss is dying. I'm still kind of figuring all that out. But
interesting to check out that prequel that they're doing. What, maybe the son
playing him, right?
Tony.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be interested to check it out. Yeah, his rise, and then the son looks like him big time.
Yeah, he does.
What a better casting could you get? So,
but Sopranos, I mean, undoubtedly, just left a big
8
mark.
Seasons, right?
Left a big mark on TV.
Yeah,
it's always considered HBO's greatest show. Even with Game of Thrones, it's always still considered
interesting. Wow,
it's always pretty considered. Yeah, it's always pretty much considered like what broke HBO for that market,
for sure.
So
for sure,
yeah. I mean, everyone loved it. It was everywhere at one point. Pop culture.
Oh, definitely.
It reached pop culture status.
Yeah.
So
I think if you've got a mob itch and you need it scratched, The Sopranos could probably do that for you. So from what I've seen so far, check it out. I'm liking it. I probably will continue on. Like I said, during my lunch hour, I have time to watch like one show, so I can watch probably an episode.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Take me something to watch. But what else? What are some other ones that?
Okay, so another one that kind of was like pretty early on, and I think this was from you and my brother as well. Donnie Brasco, the true story of Joe Pistone, undercover FBI agent.
Great movie.
Goes into the mob and kind of informs the FBI of what their dealings are.
What's going on? Yeah. You've got Johnny Depp right away.
Nice.
Where do you stand on him? Do you love him?
I love Johnny Depp, especially at this time period when he was kind of still being like him.
Yeah.
Because this is probably the most Johnny Depp you're going to get.
This is pre-Jack Sparrow Johnny Depp.
and where he just starts like kind of like changing his appearances like over and
a
over.
lot. Yeah, he kind of became known for that.
But
next,
this role is really good because he's serious. He's an undercover FBI agent that gets, man, very conflicted about, being a mobster, mobster / FBI agent. He kind of starts embracing the lifestyle a little bit, more and more. Just a great true story, of that gang, that crime family. What about you? What do you think him and Al Pacino? The chemistry between those two. I mean, Al Pacino again, right?
We're talking about Al Pacino again as Lefty. I loved it, and for me, it was interesting to see Pacino in that kind of role where he wasn't the top guy.
He was just like a soldier.
He was like a soldier, kind of like
an old mobster.
Old mobster, yeah. But no, man.
Michael Madsen?
Yes, Michael Madsen, yeah. That quickly for me becomes almost like, I mean, I guess like a father-son relationship, and he was. I guess if you could have like a mob dad, he is like, his mob dad. He's showing him the ways. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like from when they start out, talk about the Fugazi. You know what I mean? And how popular that became. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it. What's forget about it? You know what I mean? There's just this sense of impending doom that's building there. You have Anne Heche as the wife. You know what I mean? Like
suffering wife.
Yeah, you forget that there, and he's showing up at the house, and he fucking hits her, and you're like, oh man. But he's so deep, Johnny Depp, at this point that he doesn't know how to get out, and he cares for this man.
Yes,
he cares for this man like a dad, and he's like, it's bad things are gonna happen because I'm fucking undercover FBI.
Yeah.
And
how scary is that situation? I mean,
it's awful. It's awful
it's a scary
to think
situation.
that I mean, that's your job, is to earn the trust of people, get them to love you. You're eating barbecue together. You're going on trips together. You're doing things together. And not only are you scared because you have a life, you have a wife and a kid, and at any moment, if they find out, everyone's fucking dead.
You're dead.
They're all dead, and probably brutal deaths.
Yes, brutal.
So you're worried about that, but then you develop these relationships with people, and you've grown to care about them, and you know their wife, and you know their kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like it's awful. He was in an awful situation. Yeah. He tried to help him. He's like, go away, go away. You know what I mean? And you're watching this, and you just know, you're like, he doesn't know anything else.
No.
He's just an old mobster, and he's in the life, man. He's not gonna go anywhere. He doesn't understand that his fucking neck is out there. And how about that in Double A taking off his rings and
so
you're like, oh my god.
So to kind of let you guys know, Al Pacino's character does not die. He does get saved by the FBI. Joe Pistone does get to inform them about that. So a Lefty gets to live. He doesn't get as murdered like the way Sonny Black does get murdered. The real Sonny Black did get murdered. He had his hands cut off because it was his hands that grabbed Joe Pistone's hands to shake other mobsters' hands. So they cut his hands off. Fuck. And other brutal stuff to Sonny Black that they did. And they found him like in a Florida swamp. Just, it was brutal. It sounds brutal. Look it up if you can.
Yeah.
It's brutal stuff. But they did save Al Pacino's character, the Lefty.
Yeah.
They did save his character.
I don't know is that in the movie? They say that in the movie?
I don't remember. I think you kind of leave it ambiguous.
I think they do, yeah. That's awesome to know, though.
But yeah, because I get to see more Joe Pistone interviews, and he says that they got to save a Lefty. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I see a couple of comments come in here, guys. I'm going to hold on to those for about 2 more minutes because we're almost at our next break. But a movie I do want to talk about a little bit with you, Double A, is one that I also watched in preparation this week that I'd seen before. I saw with you and because of your brothers. A little lesser known movie, but it is on Netflix right now. Kill the Irishman.
Yes.
Fucking fantastic movie. Guys,
that was a really good movie.
If you have Netflix, look up Kill the Irishman. It stars Ray Stevenson.
Yeah.
But how about also you get
Val Kilmer.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah. Fantastic movie, guys, about the Cleveland mob. Danny Green, Ray Stevenson. You might know him from
Punisher, Warzone. If you watch the TV show Rome, he's come on so much stuff. G.I. Joe, he part 2. Mm-hmm. He was Firefly. So
great actor. Been in a lot of shit, and you see him like, oh, that guy. He's the lead. He plays Danny Green, who's just like this union mob leader. You get the guy that played Ward Norton in
That's right.
in Shawshank. If you
That's
hate
right.
Ward Norton, he gets a good
ass kicking,
and he also talks some good shit too. But we're gonna come right back. We're gonna take our little quick break, read some comments, guys, if you're on the Facebook Live, and then we'll finish. We're gonna keep going with Kill the Irishman as we talk all things mafioso. Guys, if you're with us on Facebook Live, we're about to read your comments. A refill. So, yes, and get a refill. I'll take one. Whatever you can find in there. There's some cool stuff in there, so try pick something neat. If you want some of that, you want to split that?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll take a little bit.
So we got the Chihuahua.
I want you to try that one.
Okay.
When you get there.
Right.
Guys, we're going to try this out right here. This is called, I found this at Specs, Veltins Pilsners. This is a German beer. I had some the other day. Very tasty. Comes in a 4-pack, 16 ounces, and the four pack was like $6.71 at Specs. So let me read a few comments here in the chat. Sorry, my scrolling is working like shit. I don't know why. Let's see. Steve says, I think we talked about Michael here. Oh, Steve says, as y'all speak, I'm watching the moon.
Very nice, Steve. I was outside before we got
come
started.
Up out back. Badass, Steve. Yeah, it's been a great moon this week, man.
I think we're about even.
Steve says, how about Steve Van Zandt from the E Street Band?
Yeah.
I didn't know that until like the show ended and people were like, that guy's in the E Street Band. I was like, what the fuck? That's awesome. He does a great job from what I've seen. Mario says,
Mario, yes, I did want to get into Sicario. I think that is a badass fucking movie.
I own, I think 1 and 2 or 2.
That first one, it was like, wow, that was a big eye-opening for me.
Yeah, Mario, I would say yes.
Especially
I would consider it.
Benicio goes to that the cartel boss's house, and he kills his wife and his kids.
Oh, fuck.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, that shit is definitely,
yeah.
I mean, that's a
Josh Brolin,
whole different type.
Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, great movie.
Great cast, yeah. And they did the sequel. Did you see the sequel?
No, I haven't
Day
seen
of the Soldado. I think I have not seen that one either. I own one at the house, and I'm looking for the other one. Ooh. Oh, but that first one is really badass. Great action, man. And great.
Very suspenseful.
Yeah, that's what I said. Great. Like you feel the tension. Like fuck, they're about to shoot it out. So it's very, very cool. Love, good pull, Mario Sakari. Didn't even think about that one for today's episode. Aaron says, what about Casino? Aaron, we talked about it. Yeah, you might got to rewind a little bit. We definitely talked about Casino, though.
Oh, cool.
He says, and Aaron says, I watch Kill the Irishman. Yeah, on Netflix. You will, Aaron, you will fucking love it. You'll laugh.
It at Walmart, and I didn't know anything about it. It was kind of like a straight to DVD, and I just saw the names. I was like, Ray Stevenson. I like Ray Stevenson. I have Val Kilmer. I was like, I like Val Kilmer. And we saw it. So
yeah, and I remember you guys be like, "Oh, you got to watch this one, Charlie." And I was like,
and especially too when you find out it's based on a true story. That's super cool, and how it connects to all the other outfits out there.
No, totally. It's very, very, very interesting, very gratifying. Again, like I mentioned, that having that mob itch, you need scratch. You're like, man, I need to see like a good mob movie. Like that one will definitely have you ready. Okay, guys, we're getting ready to come back into the audio and talk more things out. All the comments I saw there. Oh, let's see. We'll get one more in here before I come back.
Oh, yes, Mario. I shared that on our page. I am planning on going this weekend. I have my eye on the Ghost Rider.
Yeah, and I have my eye on Punisher. At the end of the episode,
first appearance Punisher too, where he's like,
I love that. Love that. Good stuff in that post, Mario. At the end of this episode, Mario, I'll mention the sale tomorrow.
And I always have your hat on, Mario.
Out at your shop.
Always.
And Mario, I don't know if you heard my part about looking for House of M, Scarlet Witch stuff. So just let me know. You can hit me up one off. But let me bring us back into the recording and continue.
And we are talking about Kill the Irishman, guys.
Guys, thanks for hanging out while we read comments. Again, if you're joining us on the Facebook Live, you know that we don't take a little break. You hear little snippets here in the audio version. That's when we're on our Facebook Live. We take a break at 30 minutes and read comments. Yeah, that's if you ever want and you're able to on a Friday night, join us. I know the show's like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. You have the time.
Guys, you don't have to watch. You can hear our podcast anywhere after tonight.
Friday nighter Steve said he's sitting out back watching the moon, probably sipping on some cold ones. So that's a perfect time and place to listen and hang out with us. And some people are doing a great, we spend so much time saying, we're going to talk about Kill the Irishman, but we spend a lot of time, me and Double A, saying, be safe, wear your mask, protect yourself. Well, guess what, guys? A lot of you Friday nighters I know are already doing that. I am guilty of not being the best staying away from stuff guy, but people that are, great time to watch our show. We appreciate that, man. If you're like, hey, I'm not going to go risk it, I'm not going to take any chances, I'm going to just need something to do. And people tell us our biggest compliment we get is it feels like I'm hanging out with you guys. Great. Yeah, awesome. If it keeps you at home, then great. And I mean, like,
what? I like hanging out with you guys too.
Totally. I feel 100% same. Yeah. Cheers to the Friday Night Faithful. Cheers, and all you Friday Nighters. Thank you, guys. But guys, we digress. Kill the Irishman, a movie about the Cleveland that kind of mob.
Was like really under the radar.
Yeah.
It was kind of straight to DVD. It wasn't like a movie release, I don't think. I don't think it was at theater, especially with that cast that you just mentioned.
We watched it we premiered it at your house and watched it, your old house, your mom's house, and we watched it. And I was like laughing, and then I was like, oh shit, like this shit was like, this guy was like a real badass.
Yeah, Danny Green shit. He came on the news and said, I'm Danny Green. I live here, at this address.
I work here. Come
and get me.
Yeah. Pretty much come and get me.
Afraid of the Italian mafia whatsoever.
The Italian mafia that was in Cleveland.
Mafia, or whatever you call it. Remember?
Mafia, yeah, whatever you call it. They had to go to New York and basically get help because they
tried killing this guy so many ways. They even tried bombing his house.
They threw fucking dynamite into his house. It collapsed on top of him and his girlfriend.
Yeah, and he still lived.
They were like, we've shot at him. We've got snipers. I mean, like, they did all that shit. And
the summer of the car bombs. I mean, man, how they're just putting bombs on cars.
They said there were like 36 bombings in this summer in Cleveland. And it was like, they were bombing. They were rigging up the mailboxes to explode. Yeah. I mean, it was nuts. It was
all out war.
It was, but it's got a great cast. It's got great lines. It's quotable. I mean, at one point, again, if you guys can remember the dickhead warden from Shawshank Redemption, he's like his first boss in the beginning, and he's working in like a sawmill.
Yeah,
or something like that.
or somewhere where it's like a union.
Yeah, like a union thing. And he's this classic fucking dickhead union boss taking side money and all this, whatever. And he tries to tell him off, and he tells him, I'll come into your house and drink all your beer. He's like, I'll go in the back with your wife all night or whatever. I'm like, what the fuck? Who talks to another guy like that? You know what I mean? So he tells him off and he takes it. He's also very well read. He doesn't really drink that much and he reads a lot.
Yeah.
And so he's very smart, Danny Green. And later on, he's got this big, the warden guy's got this big thug with him or whatever. And later on, he tells the thug, you know what I mean? He's also a very skilled fighter, like in hand-to-hand fighting. So he's like,
and he loves the Irish mythology.
Yeah.
He's an Irish mobster, and he loves like the whole mythology of
he says he believes he's descended from Celtic warriors. Mm-hmm. And that, he even says at one part, he's like, I've lived and survived these mob attempts because the grace of God is on my shoulders. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, holy shit. Like, so they start to, I think they buy into his mythos, So it's very cool, but yeah, very, very, very.
It's not that long.
Fun movie, not that long.
Yeah,
no, like
it's a very good movie, about maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah. Vincent D'Onofrio is great. You start to care about the characters, which I think anytime you can do that in a movie nowadays, we're so used to needing a lot of time to develop.
And it became really shit hot on Netflix. Yeah, when people discovered it, it became like a pretty big one of their top 10 movies.
Yeah, when I searched, I went in there and I just searched Mafia, gangster movie, and it consistently came up. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I know it's in there or whatever. But we got a great one here in the comments that we were going to talk about anyway, so we might as well. The Gangs in New York.
Oh, I just saw that movie yesterday. If you guys are in the Friday Night Faithful, I posted up YouTube's Hands That Built America from Gangs of New York. I love that song and I love that movie. What a great movie for Martin Scorsese.
Scorsese, pretty much and then you have the other king of the actors, Daniel Day-Lewis. Oh, right there, you cannot go wrong.
Man, oh man.
You've got is this him and Leo's first time?
I want to say this was the first time because I told my wife yesterday, this is the movie that made me a Leonardo DiCaprio fan.
Yeah.
This was the movie that started me off, and I've watched every one of their collaborations after this.
The Aviator, The Departed,
everything. Shutter Island, Wolf of Wall Street,
Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. So you got Scorsese, DiCaprio.
It's like his new Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
It became his new
De Niro. His new Robert De Niro, yes. And I think that a lot of times when a director can get good work out of an actor, I think that when you're a director, you're trying to see your vision, right? Mm-hmm. And so you need someone that can kind of be on the same page with you.
Yeah.
And if he obviously got that with Bobby De Niro, and now he gets that with Leo.
Yeah.
So it's like great. So he's got a great, and a guy that can deliver. Obviously, Leo can deliver.
Yeah.
So Gangs of New York, man, what
the classic story of the ruthless gang leader played by Daniel Day-Lewis, William Cutting, Bill the Butcher, killing his dad, Priest Valens, Liam Neeson. These guys are hardcore. It's like they're a hardcore American gang. Everything about them is just American, USA, and they're hating this wave of immigrants that's coming to the United States, especially New York. So he's trying to get rid of the Irish gangs, the Scottish gangs, every other gang that's not American.
But isn't Bill Irish American?
He says he was born in America, so he considers himself to be American. So you pretty much got like hardcore Americans, just thinking this is my country. You guys don't belong here. You guys don't fucking add anything great to what this country is.
Yeah.
And he wants them gone.
I don't know what awards that movie won, but I love the costumes. Like
it was nominated for a lot. It was nominated. But and I think Daniel Day-Lewis should have won for that movie. Yeah. Out of everything that he's won, I think he should have won for that.
I think he lost to Denzel that year.
He did.
That was a training day.
I think his portrayal as Bill the Butcher was way better than his portrayal.
Denzel should have won for other stuff because Denzel is
fantastic. He already had one.
Yeah, he won for Glory. Yeah, it's supporting though.
Yeah.
So this was for lead, and but Denzel could and can just, I think, pretty much turn it on and win too.
Yeah.
But in those two performances, I do think that Daniel Day-Lewis was a little bit better. But I think they wanted to give it to Denzel at that time, which I also don't agree that's not Denzel's best performance for Training Day.
Yeah,
but whatever. Day. I mean, it is what it is.
I've seen him in better movies, just like how Leo won for Revenant. I've seen him in better movies.
Yeah, definitely seen Leo in better shit than that. But anywho, Gangs of New York. I mean,
I loved it.
Absolutely love. Great story. Love, like I said, of all things I look at, I love the costumes, the pants, the plaid pants, and the top hats.
It being a long movie, but it doesn't seem like a long
movie. It doesn't feel long. No, it doesn't feel long at all. Yeah.
Cameron Diaz comes out.
Forgot about her. Cameron Diaz is in there.
Leo. I mean, it's just that beginning scene, of the war.
I love battle, that. The dead rabbits.
Yeah.
You get to just hear Daniel Day-Lewis talk like this as much as he fucking wants. You just can't get enough. Then you got to go watch Gangs of New York, man. Great movie, gang movie. I mean, it's about gangs. It's about
the early gangs of New York, when all of the minorities had to get together to protect themselves against each other. Yeah. That they all live in this one fucking city. You got to watch out for the Americans. You got to watch out for the Irish. You got to watch out for the English. There's that one. Remember, they said the guy, he has like some blood disease and he cuts himself.
Right.
If you try leaving the gang.
How about the feel of how it just kind of looks like grimy?
It's very
dirty
grimy
and hot. It looks like it's very so fucking hot. Like I'm like, they're wearing all this clothes, like as much clothes as I have on right now, but they're like all full of sweat. Like I'm like, Jesus,
but
where are they at?
You feel like Bill really runs the city.
Oh,
you feel like he has a tight grip on the city.
As he says, the 5 points come together, form a fist. So I mean, guys, if you've not seen Gangs of New York, but you maybe want to see it, sit down and watch it. Movie. It's awesome. It's an awesome. You will love it. You will not love it. So
Liam Neeson's in there. I mean, it's a great movie. I love Gangs of New York, and like I said, I love Hands That Build America. That's one of my favorite U2 songs.
Nice, nice. Let's see. I'll read these comments in our next break, but I'm reading a little bit of a mention of here, American Gangster. Mm-hmm. Now, earlier you talked about movies with great soundtracks, the mob movies, gangster movies. Jay-Z does pretty much the entire soundtrack for American Gangster, and it is fucking fire. Like, it's one of my favorite albums of his.
You know what? Yeah,
I love it.
It is.
I love it. All the songs hit. I don't know if he wrote the songs for the movie, if they're meant to be, but he does make a lot of reference to Frank Lucas in the songs. So, I mean, I think that it was written for that, which is an awesome collaboration. How about that movie for Denzel? He was fantastic in that. So,
I love the movie, but when I found out most of that show is bullshit, I was like, golly, it's almost like Braveheart.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay, so fill me in on that. I did not know that.
Yeah, so they're saying Frank Lucas wasn't as suave as Denzel portrays him, wasn't as smart as Denzel portrays him, that he was just like a fucking thug.
Shit.
That Russell Crowe had like his character, it wasn't like what it portrayed at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
like
interesting.
It's like when you really look into the true story of American Gangster, you're like, wow, that's not that movie at all. So that kind of was heartbreaking. I was like, golly, because all these mob movies that are based on real stories, there are real stuff, but American Gangsters just sounded like it took a lot of liberties.
A lot of liberties.
Yeah. So
now they did team up though, right? And eventually he kind of turned and informed
that part. That part is true, but it's just like golly, there's so much of the stuff is just bullshit.
Yeah,
a lot of the stories bullshit. But I do love the movie.
Yeah.
I love American Gangster. I love how it portrayed another section of New York that you really don't hear about too much.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I loved it a lot. I thought it was a really good crime movie, drug movie, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
I thought it was really good. I thought Denzel Washington, man, that performance was way better.
Outstanding performance.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Fucking good. He looked suave in that outfit.
When the wine hits the rug, blot that shit. You blot that shit. Yeah. I was like, damn. I was like, all right, Denzel.
Like, you can feel his anger when he finds out that they got pictures of him because he was wearing a fucking fur coat.
And he burns that fucking fur coat.
This is why I don't want to fucking draw attention to myself.
Exactly. He's like,
Cuba Gooding Jr. is good in that movie. I love him as Nicky Barnes.
Yeah. Great cast.
Gosh, T.I. is actually pretty good too.
T.I. is good, yeah. I think Bokeem Woodbine's in that.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, man.
I love it. I like
Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Again, Josh Brolin.
Man, what a fucking dirtbag.
What a scumbag. Yeah.
Man.
So, yeah, American Gangster is a great movie.
Drug crime movie, mobster movie, whatever you want to call it. I mean, all around, it's a good movie.
I feel like we're hanging in New York, so let's stay in New York for a second here. Right. So we've gone we've gone Gangs New York, old school New York, and we've gone American Gangster, kind of in the 70s, maybe early 80s, maybe.
Yeah, it is.
Let's bring a little bit more modern, a movie that not based on a true story, I don't think, but probably many stories similar. New Jack City.
Ooh.
Nino Brown, Wesley Snipes,
nice.
Ice-T as the undercover cop. You've also got who's our boy from the Breakfast Club, Judd
Nelson.
Judd Nelson also as the partner. Here's a movie, guys, that infiltrated pop culture.
It did.
Got a lot of hype.
Yeah.
People, still talk about like Nino Brown. They want to be like Nino Brown. You know what I mean? Wesley Snipes played a great, badass gangster.
That's where I first heard of him. Really, Wesley Snipes. So like really breaking out. Was New Jack City. Yeah,
I mean, I can remember being a younger guy because that movie came out like in the 90s. Younger kid, and they've got that scene where the girls they're bagging up the cocaine, but they're topless, so their titties are out. And I remember being like, oh, he just like tits or whatever. Like, that's cool. He made his workers be topless. And then later on I learned, I'm like, no, that's so they don't steal from you.
Like American Gangster.
Right. There's no place to hide it. I was like, oh, I'm a dumbass. But I was, younger watching that. But badass movie, man. I've mentioned this before, like I think back in our Juneteenth episode in season 1, but just that scene when him and Nino are fighting and he pretty much gets him down, Ice-T, and he's like, he's got the gun on him already, and he's like, I want to shoot you so bad, my dick is hard. And he's like, and he looks crazy, like Ice-T looks like a crazy motherfucker. And Judd Nelson is there right there, his partner right there. He's like, don't do it, man. Don't, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like, let's take him in. And then they take him in, and he's like, I'm gonna be out in a week. Like, he's still talking shit, you know what I mean? And they're like, fuck, man, he's probably right, because he had money and he had everybody bought. And gunned down by someone that was one of the kids he dealt drugs to's grandfather, which you just see them smiling at the end too. You see Judd and I see just like laughing, like they're like glad that this motherfucker got shot. Like, it's a satisfying ending. You know what I mean? Like, even though, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, man, I fucking hate this dude. You know what I mean?
Guys, what do you think about New Jack City?
New Jack City. If you haven't seen it, go find it and watch it. Great mob movie, gangster movie. Where do you place it? Crime movie. Double A. What else you got?
Oh man, so I told fellow member Friday night member Hoti Bear, man, I love Carlito's Way.
Oh yeah,
that is one of my top 5 Pacino performances.
Okay.
Yes, I love Carlito's Way a lot. Classic story of a guy who's been sent to prison, comes out and just wants to be clean, man. He just wants to retire, get enough money, go to an island and open up his own business, and it just goes wrong.
He is what nationality in that?
He is Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican. That's right. That's right.
Yes, but man, what a great fucking movie Carlito's Way is. Brian De Palma, him and Brian De Palma team up again from Scarface for Carlito's Way. You got Viggo Morrison, You got
Lale.
Penelope Ann Miller. You got John Leguizamo in a really good role.
Benny
I love his
Blanco.
role.
Benny Blanco from the Bronx.
Yeah,
Dude, John Leguizamo is fucking
I love
fire
that red
all
suit.
the time.
I
just
love that red suit that he has.
In the last year, I've just fallen more in love with John Leguizamo. He's so smart and so great, guys. If you get to check out his on Netflix, his it's like called like True History of Latin Americans or Latin American History for Dummies or something like that. But it is a fucking riot and super informative about how Latin American culture is pretty much written out of history books, but it's so smart. It's such a smart, he's more like a one-act play than he is than it is like a stand-up, but he's just so good and so smart, and he's got a great Facebook to follow too. Like John Leguizamo, I love him, and he's great in Carlito's Way. I barely saw the movie maybe in the last 2 or 3 years.
Really?
Yeah, and think I bought it after seeing it, and I just one of the ones that was like on my list, never got to it, and I was like, wow. Sean Penn.
Oh man. So if you want to talk about a scene stealer, Sean Penn, this is probably his best role that he's ever done. The classic scumbag lawyer, man, what a great character. They say that a Grand Theft Auto character was made after him.
Is that right?
Yeah,
is
something
that right?
like that. But man, he plays a fucking scumbag in that movie.
However you think Sean Penn looks, he looks very un-Sean Penn in this movie. So
yeah. I love the movie though. It's so good. Pacino's so good in that movie. He's trying, like I say, he's trying to get away from everything, but it's like, man, they keep throwing fucking things out of his way, speed bumps out of his way, and man, it's a very satisfying movie, a very satisfying ending. I love Carlito's Way.
Carlito Brigante.
Yeah, I cannot recommend that movie enough.
Great movie.
Guys, check it out.
Watch
check out
Carlito's Way. I think I did buy it after that because I was like, man, it's like a fucking badass movie.
And
your mom has always called me Carlito since that movie came out. Like, she called me Carlito.
And man, his beard looks sweet. I tried to get his beard, and
that's a good beard. I could never have that beard.
He looks so fucking good in that movie, man. He looks so fucking
very
stylish.
Cool, very suave. Yeah,
yes,
he's great. Like, it's a great Al Pacino
man, the
movie.
last like 30 minutes are so fucking intense, right? When they're chasing him, like from the dining club when the mobsters are there, that whole scene is like very like suspenseful. You're like really on the edge of your seat because they're there to kill him.
Yeah.
And then the chase begins.
Exactly.
And you're just like, man, that last like 25 minutes is just really suspenseful.
How about
really on your edge of your seat?
Viggo Mortensen as Lale.
Yeah, Lale, their resident pimp.
I can't walk, I can't hump. He's in a wheelchair. He's like all fucked up. Like, it's like, oh man, Viggo, you're playing a Puerto Rican guy? I don't know.
And like it's cool because like Al Pacino's like, I heard you're supposed to be doing like 30 years. So it's like, damn, what the fuck did Laline do? Like he's getting like a 30-year life sentence. Like fuck.
Oh man.
But again, Brian De Palma, Al Pacino, if you love them in Scarface, you're gonna love them in Carlito's Way. If you haven't seen it, that's just a really good movie.
Yeah, I highly suggest that one as well. Carlito's Way, great movie. What else? Double A, take me somewhere else.
Mario just put in The Untouchables. Have you ever seen that one where Robert De Niro plays Al Capone?
This movie is sitting at my house on DVD. It must have come into my house unbeknownst to me, and I was like, I pulled it out to say I'm going to watch this in prep of this show, and I didn't get a chance to watch it.
And I think again, that's De Palma.
You might be right.
With Kevin Costner.
Yeah, with Kevin Costner as Elliot Ness, right? Yep. So I have not seen it, Mario, unfortunately, but it is literally like in my room, ready to be watched.
It has one of the most classic scenes with Robert De Niro where he bashes a guy's head in with a bat.
Okay.
That's always been like a classic scene. He goes right behind the guy and just starts bashing him with the baseball bat.
And De Niro is Capone.
He's Al Capone.
Okay.
Yeah. And Elliot Ness,
the
Sean Connery,
story,
where Sean Connery won his award.
Right.
His Academy Award.
Probably the most famous mobster of all time. The real life.
It's a really good movie. It's a really good deep crime movie. I would really highly recommend The Untouchables. It's really good. Oh yeah, Andy Garcia. Andy Garcia is really good in that movie too.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Andy Garcia. So if you liked him it's gonna be weird, like seeing like Godfather 3 too, like where he's like a really good cop,
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so.
I love him. I love him as a great actor. I always felt like The Godfather 3, his extension, like if I could see like older Vincent, is what we get in Oceans.
Yeah.
When he's older, very suave, now more cool, very low key. I love the way he talks to Julia Roberts. I love the way he tells Clooney he's gonna get him and all that. There's not over the top. It's played so. I'm like, I like Andy Garcia, casino owner of Ocean's 11. Andy Garcia, very cool guy, great actor. So let's talk about these two real quick. Let's go. I want to do. We'll kind of do a little light one, and then we'll go more serious. So we'll go Dick Tracy, and then let's go Bugsy.
So I like these two.
We're comic book guys, so you get a comic strip.
I like these.
Dick Tracy. I cannot think for the life of me, AA, another movie that looks.
I love the look of Dick Tracy.
I love it too.
I love
Why
the
didn't they do
colors.
more movies like that? It looks.
I love his
so
yellow.
neat.
I love all the gangster colors. I love that movie. The Tommy guns, everything.
All this shit that people say about comic movies, like, oh, you can't do that. In a
Madonna is such a great,
man.
You know, that
Breathless Mahoney?
You know, it's almost like a Dame to Kill For. She plays like that Dame to Kill For from Sin City.
Yes.
You know, that you fall in love with her and you want to do anything for her. You know,
any mumbling motherfucker to me is Mumbles, and I will call them Dustin Hoffman. I'm like, what the fuck are you, Mumbles? I'm like, you're over here like. Big boy did it. Dustin Hoffman is a fucking champ.
Man, and then what the cast.
That
Warren Beatty got together.
Wow, man.
Holy shit.
I mean, that
James Caan is in there. Al Pacino's in there. Dustin Hoffman is in there. Dick Van Dyke is in there.
Shit.
Madonna is in there.
Who plays Flat Top? That's somebody too.
Yes, it is. It's the Edward Forsythe.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy's such a fun movie.
It is. But that shootout.
Oh yeah.
You remember that shootout at the end when all the guys are coming and Tracy's just there with the Tommy gun?
Yeah, that is badass.
Man, holy shit.
You're like, man, I'm like a Dick Tracy fan now.
Man, he Flat Top gets out and he's like.
So what I remember mainly about this, I didn't know a lot about Dick Tracy, though. I never read the comics. It wasn't out.
That was my first introduction to Dick Tracy.
But you know where I was seeing it a lot? Oh. I was reading all those 90s comics, and it was on the back. And my dad goes, what are you reading? And I said, I'm reading whatever. And I show him, and he goes, oh, look at the back. And he goes, you know what that is? Because all it was the silhouette of the watch, and it said calling Dick Tracy, and my dad said that's a cool comic.
My brothers had to watch at one
time. Oh man, that is
what
fucking
a cool
sweet.
Fucking thing that was.
Very fucking
now
sweet.
It's become like a real thing now.
No shit, right? Your iWatch is your Dick Tracy
became, like your watch became a phone, but how innovative was that? You know,
very much
Tracy,
so, man.
You know,
very much so. The kid, the kid grew up, right? Didn't he? And he was called the kid. But your middle brother, Friday Night or will always talk about the fight with him and Steve the Tramp. You know what I mean? With the whole
where the Shaq goes back and
he's beating the. You know, I mean, I love that too. Like the hard-nosed detective, like fighting the gangsters with fucking just lefts and rights. You know, so that's a great movie.
It is. Tracy. That's a really good.
Do you own that? I think that's hard to find. I think that's hard to find. I've never looked it up, but I'm going to go look it up now. As I do,
like I said, Madonna is smoking.
That is Madonna at her hottest, man. I do this show and then I go spend money on Amazon afterwards on the shit.
I know, same here.
So that is my story. But keeping with Warren Beatty, Bugsy, that movie.
Bugsy Siegel, Benjamin Siegel, like the last years of his life in that movie. That movie is so good. One of the few gangsters that was great looking enough where he crossed over to the Hollywood mainstream, but a brutal fucking gangster he was. Convicted, indicted on rape, indicted on murder, indicted on racketeering, indicted on all this fucking shit. He is a brutal mobster, a Jewish mobster that was highly respected in the Italian mafia. Mm-hmm. Highly respected. Loved to kill, loved to torture, loved doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
The movie, it kind of shows him where it's just like where they send him to Las Vegas and, trying to build Las Vegas up, taking over that territory for the New York mob, for Lucky Luciano. So,
right.
Is it true that he was skimming money off the mob? I don't know. It's always been open-ended. No one knows if he was really stealing money or it was just losing money.
I mean, it's kind of like a weird point, right? Because it's like, well, what if he wasn't? Are we hold him in higher regard? I'm like, a criminal's a criminal, you know what I mean? Like,
but
at least he wasn't stealing from his buddies.
I know they said that Meyer Lansky, because him and Meyer grew up together. They were best friends.
Yeah.
That it was his vote that decided his ultimate outcome, but they said he really hated the decision. Obviously, he protected Meyer when they were kids.
Yeah.
He was a protector. He was a muscle even for Lucky Luciano. He was a muscle for him when they were growing up.
Yeah.
So no one knows if Virginia was really taking the money. If he was taking the money, who knows? I do know that Flamingo did flop in the first opening. It did flop bad. And man, a brutal man that died a brutal way. He got fucking bullets like all in and everything. Just
pretty much in California, he was killed in California. Right?
Yep.
But pretty much we could say the innovator of Vegas.
Yeah,
right?
He is. He sure is.
And the Flamingo's still there, and they have
an idea.
Have a,
yeah. And at the end of the movie, they just said how it generates hundreds of millions of dollars now.
And there's a statue to him, right? Which is kind of
it's a little one.
Kind of odd to have that to like a murdering, killing rapist. But I mean, I mean, hey, that's America for you, right? I mean, it's like, hey, we're obsessed with that shit. We're obsessed with the culture of those.
It is kind of like one of the first very big casinos, though.
Yeah.
So,
And if you go to Vegas, I mean, Vegas is all modern now. So if you get to go to that, you're seeing a piece of old Vegas.
It did lead to the mob getting their roots into Vegas. So but great movie by two good Warren Beatty movies.
Yeah, I like Bugsy a lot. Yeah. I actually saw it after the next movie I'm going to bring up, and this is when this movie. It's not really regarded, I think, that highly, but I liked it a lot, and it made me go do my own research. And then I liked the Bugsy in this movie, so it was weird to see him. Warren Beatty do it, which was the bigger movie, the more successful movie. But I'm talking about Mobsters.
I love Mobsters.
Mobsters is a badass movie.
I love Mobsters.
I like Mobsters.
Great cast.
Richard Grieco as Bugsy, from 21 Jump Street fame. Christian Slater as Charlie Lucky Luciano. I liked that. I liked that a mobster had. I got that guy's name. Who I thought was very smart, very well done. Meyer Lansky. I learned about
Patrick Dempsey.
And Patrick Dempsey. Yeah, Patrick Dempsey played him
before he became really big.
And who was the fourth guy?
I can't remember Frank Costello, the actor, but he's like a big name too. I've seen him in a lot of movies. His name escapes me, but Frank Costello. They played it all great.
Yeah, no, very, very great movie. Fun movie. They talk about the rigging of the World Series.
R.L. Rothstein
comes out. R.L. Rothstein that comes up. I love that part when he's talking with Luciano and he's like, "We got money to burn, baby. You want to burn some?" And they're literally throwing money into the fireplace. You're like, "Holy shit!" Classic too. Again, they look great.
Yeah,
great costumes. They look so sharp, man. They got the Tommy guns, and they're just doing it, fucking mafia style, man. You're like, "Holy shit! This is a pretty solid movie." Short. Too, it's not like one of the longer.
But it's really good, man. I kind of want to go real deep into this one.
No, go, please, by all means. Anthony Quinn, also.
Chris Penn is in there too.
Oh, okay. It's been a while since I've seen it. You own that? Penn,
yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I own it. Just so good. It's a really good story of how the four main pioneers of the mob: Lucky Luciano, the leader; Meyer Lansky, the brains; Bugsy Siegel, the muscle, and Frank Costello, the politician of the group, the one that paid off the cops and everything. It's a really good story of how these two old Sicilian mob bosses, how Luciano plays both sides, and they kill each other. And at the end of that, Lucky Luciano comes in. They have a 5 families, where he's a chairman. He's a chairman of the board. He organizes the mafia into this one big cohesive unit, and it's just a really good movie. Yeah,
hang on there. Guys. We're gonna take a pause for the cause, read a bit of your comments, and then we'll get right back and talking more about mobsters. Guys, if you're joining us on Facebook Live, you know that we don't go anywhere. We just take a little pause every 30 minutes so that we can read some comments and also allow our audio to process that's the portion that goes out to all of our regular podcast websites. So we got quite a few in here. So let's go back up and tell me where I'm at.
Keep going. Go down. About right there where Steve is at. Oh, right there. Cameron Diaz looked dirty. Okay.
Aaron says Cameron Diaz looked dirty in Gangs in New York. Steve says good night. We got to catch up for a couple of brews. Steve, let's do it.
It's Road to Perdition. And that's the name of the movie.
Yeah,
Road to Redemption.
Aaron, that's a great movie. I'm gonna put that on my list because
he put that Road to Redemption.
We tell you guys. I'll talk about it. Yeah, it's actually called Road to Perdition. Tom Hanks. That's a great one, Aaron. We'll talk about that one before we get done tonight.
Steve, good night. Thanks for staying up with us.
Yeah. Karina. What's up, Corinne?
Hi, Karina.
You're probably gone by now that we're reading your comment. I hope that you stuck with us though. Aaron also says, still wanted to see titties. Oh, okay. Don't we all? I haven't seen it. Which one are we talking about?
Which one is the one you were talking about with the brawlers?
New Jack City.
New Jack.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great one. Aaron says, "How about Heat?" I'm gonna put that on my list here to talk. Potentially to talk about if we get to it. Mario back again says The Untouchables. What are you prepared to do? Words to live by. Sean Connery. That's a great one, dude. Watch it. Andy Garcia. I will. I'll definitely check it out. And then you seen it, right?
I love that movie.
Yeah. Okay. So double A is up on Untouchables. Okay. Let's see.
They're in the Prohibition. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Prohibition area. Joe, and that's what up, Joe. Joe says love the Ocean's movies. Aaron says Eastern Promises. I wrote that down.
That's a really
Aaron.
Good one.
Yeah, we're definitely. I'd like to talk about that a little bit if we can. Joe says William Forsythe played JD in American Me. Yeah. We did mention if we're going to talk about those movies that it is the Mafia. You know what I mean? So American Me,
Mexican Mafia.
American Me is one. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on. I'm going to put it on the list here to potentially mention American Me. Good pull on that, Joe. We talked about it before if we were going to mention it, but we didn't say. Nene says y'all are so dangerous. You know we are, Nene. We shouted you out, man. Did you leave? I'm glad that you're back, man. Dude, great job, Nene, on being in the mysanantonio.com. Recognition for the Selena videos. Dude, you're killing it. I know you got the real Chris to like that, man. So that is awesome. Double A, show him the next one up there.
So CM wanted me to try this one, Chihuahua, the original Mexican American lager.
If your brother Will was here, he would say that's probably the dog that swam in it to get it that. It's a 5%er though, so guys. But found this at HEB on Goliath as well. They got a great beer selection there. Right. HEB on Goliath, sponsor us. We need some money. Send us some money in. But Nene, let's get together, man, and work, bro. We got to crush some shit. You know what I'm saying? This is already like your third or fourth shout out, but you keep leaving my live, so you don't get to hear it. Nene, what's your favorite mob movie? You like? How come we never do no mobster shit videos, bro? I want to see you get. You've been dangerous, but now you got to get gangsta. So let me know what you want to do. You can work it out. Crystal says hello, guys.
Hey, Crystal,
we said hello earlier when you said hello earlier, but maybe you missed it and you went away too.
Joe put another Warren Beatty movie.
We're glad that you're back.
Clyde to Bonnie and Clyde. That's a really good movie.
I haven't seen
Gene
that.
Hackman.
I haven't seen that.
Gene
Bonnie and Clyde
in that movie.
Yeah, another one.
You know the story of Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah,
you know, very brutal. Their ending too.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Public Enemies. We probably won't, but like I saw Black Mass also in preparation for this with Johnny Depp again. You know what I mean? To Johnny Depp. But yeah, for sure. Nene says again, those movies are fake.
If you haven't seen it.
Class. Go Bucks this weekend.
All right,
next weekend, Crystal. Yeah, we didn't talk at all about that. Double A Super Bowl being set up.
It's
not yet. We're 1 weekend away.
8/7.
The following up there. Yeah. But bro, the movies are fake. What do you mean? Some of them are based on real shit, like Selena. You got to do some Selena gangster movie crossover or something. All right, like
thanks,
that.
Crystal.
Well, Crystal, but do you like this cup right here? See, like this one. It's pretty cool. See? Yes, Joe, The Departed. We definitely want to talk a little bit about The Departed. Do I have? Yeah, that's on my list already. It's one that we meant to talk about. I think we might have touched briefly on it. Just
briefly.
We've been kind of on Scorsese a lot, so we don't want to, it end up being the all Marty Scorsese hour here. But Double A, what are we coming back with?
We are talking about.
Were we still on mobsters? Did you get all you had out to say about mobsters?
No. What movie were we talking about right
now? Mobsters.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, guys, we're going to come right back then. Now, please continue to comment in. Give us your input. We got some great stuff here. I got out of the comments The Departed, Eastern Promises, Road to Perdition, not Road to Redemption, Heat, and American Me. So if there's anything else that you want us to touch on, the Bonnie and Clyde was a cool one. I have not seen that. And then I mentioned Black Mass, and I also mentioned, what was the other one I mentioned? Public Enemies, which is the whose story is that one?
John Dillinger.
So yeah,
Public Enemy #1.
We might not get to all of these guys because we got all night, but we don't want to keep you here all night because that's not cool. It's not cool of us. But guys, yeah. So mobsters again.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a really good story of the rise of the American Mafia, set up by Lucky Luciano. Really good story. Meyer Lansky, Luciano, their partnership, the unusual partnership of a Jewish mobster and an Italian mobster, especially when Jewish mobsters weren't supposed to be in the mafia, Yeah. So I would highly recommend that one. That's a good cast. Again, it's Christian Slater, it's Patrick Dempsey, it's Richard Greco, it's Chris Penn, Anthony Quinn. Charlie, do you know the one who plays Gandalf? I mean, not Gandalf, Dumbledore in the Harry Potter ones.
Michael Gambon?
Yeah, he's in that one too.
That's right. Yeah, he's that other boss.
Yeah.
That's a fucking dick.
Yes. Yes. So
that's such a great movie. I need to see it again. You got it on Blu-ray?
No, I don't have it on Blu-ray.
I bet it's hard to find.
Great movie. I highly recommend it. So check out Mobsters.
Yeah. Now, guys, during our pseudo break, but when we tell you guys to comment, then we read every 30 minutes. We got a lot of great comments. So we're going to talk about something. We're going to kind of head down the list. We might go fast. We might not. We might go slow. I don't know. But, join us and let us know as you think what we should be adding, or not adding. So I'm going to start off right here since we had done a lot of Martin Scorsese, but The Departed.
Where he finally won his Oscar for Best Director. Finally.
Now, would you call it a mob movie, gangster movie, or even...
It's a mob movie.
It's a mob movie.
Yeah.
Because
it's loosely based on Whitey Bulger.
Mm-hmm. But in the movie, it's Frank Costello.
Frank Costello,
yes. Played by Jack Nicholson, expertly played. What a great caper flick.
That's what I'm drinking right now, Crystal.
And we had this, Crystal,
but mostly I've been drinking Dos Equis, but Charlie CM wanted me to try out this Chihuahua beer.
Yeah. So Double A's drinking a dog. A small dog, like I have a dog.
Okay, so Departed. Get back on our
Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Alec Baldwin,
Martin Sheen,
Jack Nicholson. Did I say Mark Wahlberg already?
Oh no,
Mark Wahlberg. Boston guys, fucking Southie. What a great story. So I heard that this is based on like a Japanese movie, I think.
Yeah, so they did it first. But this one is, like I said, loosely based on Whitey Bulger.
Yeah.
From being an FBI informant to having his own cop in the force, all that shit, getting information on his rivals, his feud with the Italian mafia.
Yeah.
All that stuff,
Yeah.
But Jack Nicholson kind of plays it more like a paranoid mob boss, like where he gets more and more paranoid, And
it's I would agree. And he's more too of like I would say like a kind of a caricature or whatever, because I watched, and I'll talk about this one next, which is because they kind of go one and the other, but Black Mass, which is it's a Johnny Depp movie, great cast. David Harbour's in that, Kevin Bacon's in that, Benedict Cumberbatch, the damn kid's name I just forget right now, Joel Edgerton.
Oh yeah.
He's like the second pretty much lead to Johnny Depp. He plays the cop on the inside, but that's like the real story of the Whitey Bulger story. They call him. That movie it's not a parody. I mean, I'm sure there are liberties taken as Hollywood does, but it's just the straight up story. But anyway, The Departed, I absolutely love it.
I loved it.
This movie blew me the fuck away.
I hate it when people say they give it to Martin Scorsese like as a okay, here's your Oscar. I hate that because The Departed's one of his best movies.
Absolutely. If I could have my name on a movie and that was a movie, that's great. Now would I rather have it on like Goodfellas or Casino?
Sure. Maybe. But The Departed was just as fucking good.
I own that. I watched that over and over again. It's fucking quotable. It's fucking funny.
Leo and Matt Damon are great in that movie.
Gosh.
Mark Wahlberg is fucking hilarious in that movie.
I think people still hate Matt Damon based on that movie. I'm like, there's no good you can do to redeem you from being that asshole.
I like Baldwin is fucking funny in that movie.
Wahlberg is great. Martin Sheen is great. I mean,
I love Martin Sheen in that movie.
Yeah, everything about it. I mean, it's great. It's just so much. It reminds me. It's of what a thing to say. Scorsese movie reminds me of a Tarantino movie, but it does because it's one of these ones where there's the cast is so layered and the performances are so good. You know, and I've said this before because I always think about Django or sometimes even Inglourious, but like with Django, there's so many good performances happening that like someone like Leo's performance is kind of pushed down by Christoph Waltz and Jamie Foxx turning it way up, and you're like, damn, like, and even Samuel L. Jackson as Steven. It's like Leo's performance is like fourth good in Django to those people. You're like, that's still a great performance as Calvin Candy, and that's how The Departed is. It's so many great performances stacked on top of each other. You're like, gosh, dang, like it's that good. There's no moment wasted. There's no slow parts. Even what's her name is great Vera Farmiga.
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
I fuck up her name.
She's
great,
fantastic as a psychiatrist. So great and beautiful, beyond beautiful. She's a gorgeous lady, and she just does it so well. Kind of playing not knowingly, but she's falling for the patient, but she's with this guy that's kind of weird, and everything else seems like it would be great, the ideal partner, but what's up with him? We don't really know. What was your take on that? Is Matt Damon gay? Is he a homosexual in the closet? And that's
what's going on? They say that he got abused in the church, so like he's like very hard to like get close to. I wouldn't say he's gay. Just I don't know. Just he's fucked up in the head
because their lovemaking doesn't go so well. You know, she kind of gives him that.
No, it doesn't.
That happens to a lot of guys' speech, and he kind of takes offense to it or whatever. So okay, so he's just fucked up. So that adds.
I would say so, yeah, because they never really make him like look like he's like into other dudes.
Ever done this? Right? Look at this.
Oh, damn, nice.
That's how hot this beer is. It needs to go. I put ice in my beer right now, y'all. Shit, I'm gonna catch hell for this. I'm sure. Okay, so that's our little tick on The Departed. Absolutely love it.
Movie.
One of Scorsese's absolute best, in my opinion.
Yeah, 4 stars. Easily 4 stars.
Yeah, if you went out and bought it and had never watched it, you're not wasting money.
It's not slow like Casino. It's faster pace. It's just like you said, all-star lineup. I could probably watch that one more than a lot of his other ones. You know, real easy.
If it's on, I don't turn it. I love it. The Departed is fucking fantastic. Okay, so next we had Aaron B mention Eastern Promises.
Woo! Now you're talking about the Russian Mafia. But with almost like the same plot line. An undercover cop that's going deep into the Russian Mafia.
Viggo Mortensen plays the lead, and across from him is that Vincent Castle.
Yeah.
This guy I love as an actor. He is a fucking great scumbag. He's a great villain. He was a little while like my kind of dream casting for Dr. Doom. Only because I thought he could do like whatever like a Latvian accent is supposed to sound like. And I also thought he like, because do you remember in Black Swan, right? How he's like such a fucking asshole, man. I'm like, and if you ever watch that movie, there's a movie called Derailed. Have you ever heard this movie?
Who's it with?
It's him. The lead is Clive Owen, and the opposite lead is Jennifer Aniston. Remember that fucked up movie?
Yes.
That movie is super fucked up, guys. And he's a fucking asshole in that. So Vincent Castle is a great asshole. He's a great bad guy. Could he do Dr. Doom? I think so. I mean, everybody likes Hugo Weaving, but they like him for every single bad guy, and he can't be fucking everybody. So he didn't even want to do the Red Skull again. No. So whatever. But I digress. Back to Eastern Promises. Yeah. Viggo Mortensen, undercover, Russian mob. You know, you got to get the stars tattooed over your heart.
Scene,
right? Nude in the spa or whatever. Nude fighting. Apparently, this is a question because I hear this. People say, "Could you fight nude?" And I'm like, number one, I never been in a fight.
So if you had to,
man. Like the situation he was in, they're trying to cut his goddamn throat. He fought two guys. I mean, ladies, if you're out there and you want to see nude men fighting,
it's a fucked up story too. Just I don't know what is it like with the women too. Like,
well, you pretty much have they've got like these like I guess Russian girls that come over and they pretty much open these sex houses or whatever, and the girls are there. And one of them gets pregnant by one of the mob bosses, the Russian mob bosses. The guy, and they get a hold of the baby, right? Yeah. And so they get a hold of the baby, and Naomi Watts is in it also.
That's right.
She plays like the nurse or whatever, and her and Viggo kind of. And you know what's really cool is I don't think you find out that Viggo's undercover until towards the end.
You don't.
So it's like you don't know the whole time. Spoiler alert, sorry. We fucked up Eastern Promises
Yeah,
for you.
okay.
But it's a great fucking movie. Either way, you get to watch it and you get to enjoy it. And it's a lot of fun. Vigo is a real, not
He's
Lale from Carlito's Way anymore. Now he's a fucking badass.
He's really good.
In great
and
shape.
This was just about almost after Lord of the Rings. So it was a big departure.
Yeah. And he's all fucking tatted up. I love that part where he's like, gives him the fucking, I don't know what that means, but that was pretty cool. And I was like, that was it's a fucking badass movie. Vincent Castle too is very, very, very good as a bad guy. And there's a great scene where his dad, Vincent Castle's dad, who's like the leader of the Russian mob,
which portrays like he's like a very nice, sensitive man, right?
Yeah. They're eating borscht, and if we had Friday Night or Jack here, he would be doing it too much. And it wouldn't. But anyway, there's a part where the little girls are playing the violin, and he's like, "You must make the wood cry," and he's like playing the violin, all beautiful Russian style. I love just how it's so seeped in rich culture, and then you have at the end, like, Vigo pretty much telling them they want to pull him out, and he's like, "No, tell them that by the end of the night, I will have stars over my heart. So when you get in this mob, you get these 2 star tattoos right here. So stars over your heart, So the stars, that means like you're fucking in, like you're all the way in." And he pretty much surpasses Vincent Castle, the fucking son. So it's like you get the impression he's like, "No, I'm gonna stay in like deep, like real deep." So you're like, "Oh shit!" Like it's pretty badass. And great movie, Eastern Promises. You will not.
That is really good
with that one. We also had from Friday Night Faithful member Aaron B. Also, he said Road to Redemption. It's actually called Road to Perdition.
I fucking love that movie. When I first saw it, I love that movie.
Based on a graphic novel.
Yes.
So based on a comic book, comes from a comic book, graphic novel, fancy name for comic book. Tom Hanks.
I loved it.
How about one of his final roles as the mob boss, Paul Newman?
I love Paul Newman. I love Jude Law.
That scene with them. Oh yeah, Jude Law is great.
Daniel Craig.
Great.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig. Oh my gosh. Before Bond.
Yeah.
He's you know how you love to hate some characters. You don't love to hate him. You just hate him and hate you. It's just all hate.
Yeah.
But Paul Newman is lovable. And their moment, him and Tom Hanks, is like, man, they are like a father and son. Me and my dad love that movie. I think we saw it in theaters together. It is very much a father-son movie because it's like a lone wolf and cub, the dad and the son, and the tragedy of it. It's heavy, man. It's fucking heavy.
Hey, see, real quick, let me answer Steve's because he asked me this question
Go,
again. Yes, I do love this after a couple. I do love it. It's really fucking good. I would highly recommend it. so
great question, Steve.
Cheers, Steve.
Cheers.
I'm glad you're back.
And I've got ice in here. Oh.
Thanks for coming back. I love the look of Road to Perdition. I love the setting of Road to Perdition. I love the story. It's brutal how Daniel Craig fucking murders his family,
So well, before you go into that, double A, back us up.
Okay.
The things that you love. Tell us about it. What era, time frame were we dealing with?
It's a Prohibition era.
Okay.
Because he mentions Al Capone.
1940, 30,
he mentions
40s.
Al Capone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those kind of cars.
Yes.
Fedoras.
Yeah. Tom Hanks is a hitman.
Yeah.
Paul Newman's best hitman.
Yeah.
And he's very serious. No joking. There's no joking.
How much dialogue does Tom Hanks have in that first hour?
He doesn't have a lot.
5 words.
He's very professional in his job. He likes to do it right.
Michael Sullivan.
Him and Paul
This
Newman.
is not Forrest Gump, guys. No. This is not fucking Castaway.
Him and Paul Newman have like a really tight father-son relationship. Daniel Craig is like that crazy mob boss son.
Typical asshole.
He doesn't
great American accent. I did not know he was English.
Yeah,
until
I didn't know.
Later, like Bond.
His son sneaks on a fucking car with them.
He goes out on a hit.
He sees what his dad really does. He finds out that his dad's just killing mobster, and Daniel Craig's like, can we trust him? And he's like, yeah, of course, he's my son. He's not going to say anything. But Daniel Craig doesn't believe it, and he fucking executes Michael Sullivan's family.
How about that scene with Paul Newman and Daniel Craig?
Yeah.
Father-son.
Yeah, when he beats him?
Yeah.
Well, even like Tom Hanks, when he finds his family, when he's like, no, that's brutal. And then, Paul Newman, because Paul Newman knows what he just unleashed. He knows what his son just unleashed on him.
He ain't going to stop. I love when they say that. I love when they're like, he's not going to stop. Like
Nope.
you fucked
like
up.
I said, I love the feel of the movie. I like how they sent Jude Law because they're like he's the best at what he does, and what he does is pretty freaky too. After he kills people,
Jude Law's sick.
He takes pictures of his victims.
Yeah,
that's pretty fucking freaky too.
One of my favorite scenes is the diner scene when Hanks already knows what's up, and him and Jude Law first encounter each other.
Yep.
And he intentionally takes like a swig out of a flask. And he's sweating, but he's sweating because he knows what he's trying to get done here, which is get out of the diner with Jude Law. But Jude Law's eyeing him, and he offers him a drink out of his flask, and he's like, never touch this stuff. And then he tells Tom Hanks, stuff makes you sweat, because you can see the bead of sweat running off of him. But hell, for all we know, Hanks didn't even take a swig. He's just trying to set up, like, we're trying to get out of here. Yeah. And it's a great scene. The whole movie's
I love it. Yeah, I love
the soundtrack, the scene in the rain.
Yes. Oh man.
Oh my God.
I'm glad you brought that one up.
Oh my God. It will blow you away.
Yes.
It will blow you away. It's so fucking epic. It's an epic scene.
Yeah.
An epic movie. Really underrated. Way underrated. I never hear it talked about. Never hear it talked about. Great pull, Aaron B. Road to Perdition is fucking
highly recommended.
Yeah, totally. Moving on quickly. Heat. Are they a crime family? They're not. It's not a crime.
They're just a bunch of bank robbers.
They're just a bunch of bank robbers. Might be more of a caper flick. I would put this more in the category of like a Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
Where it's not quite a mob.
No, it's not.
But see, here you go though, right? Speaking of Reservoir Dogs, Joe is like a boss. He has a crew.
Yeah, he's a crime boss
over a crew,
but he hires people.
So
for certain jobs.
Let's go to our bread and butter comic books. Kingpin,
mobster.
He's a mobster.
Yeah,
he's but he's over.
He owns New York.
See, he's over any crime boss in New York.
Yeah, they all pay tribute.
Any Italian, any family. Yeah. Kingpin is the Kingpin.
Yes,
by his name, Wilson Fisk is the shit. Okay. So Joe in Reservoir Dogs is kind of like that, but he's smaller scale.
Boss, yeah,
like a syndicate,
because I mean the jewelry that they were just seeing from just sounded like a small jewelry.
There were diamonds.
Yeah, for sure. But it sounded like maybe like a Zell's.
Okay,
it didn't sound like they were seeing like from like a bank or anything. It just sounded like a really easy score. For them,
Okay.
So
but you get to feel too that he's doing multiple jobs. He's got multiple crews.
Of course, yeah. Because he was like, we had two guys fighting over Mr. Black.
Right.
At another job.
Okay.
So Heat, a good movie.
Heat, fantastic movie.
But I don't know if we put it on here though.
Yeah, I didn't know necessarily call it what it is here. Next one up. You want to talk about the Mexican Mafia? Oh. I mean, we are in San Antonio. We do not want to offend anyone. We're talking about movies here.
Yeah.
But Friday Nighter Joe brought up American Me.
American Me is a great fucking movie. I love that movie.
I love American Me. Edward James Olmos as Santana.
Scary in that movie.
Oh yeah, the whole movie is very intense. In fact, maybe more so because we are in South Texas in San Antonio, where we are also Hispanic. I felt like this movie got mixed in a lot with this one and Blood In, Blood Out. Like you had to watch these. Now I may be about to catch hell. I don't think I've ever seen Blood In, Blood Out all the way.
It's funny because I prefer American Me. Most people love Blood In, Blood Out more than American Me. I like American Me more.
Now, from the parts I've seen of Blood In, Blood Out, I liked American Me more. But again, I haven't seen it the whole way through. But American Me, I feel like we watched all together a lot of times. Yeah, we watched that one a lot. Yeah.
You remember our cousin Caesar? He would sometimes dress up like
I don't remember that.
Like you would wear the high pants and this shirt, the button up shirt. You remember how Caesar looked? He looked just like, he was from California, so
more of that too. See, it's always like when they talk about the Mexican Mafia, it's more like based in
because it's in California. It's in California.
Yeah,
that's where Caesar's from. He's from California.
And while we're on that, though, I do want to mention real quick. We might have said it off while we were off air, but Friday Night Faithful. Member and Friday Nighter longtime Mario Delgado did mention Sicario, and so that is a great one regarding the cartel. Cartel stuff would definitely count in the vein of what we're talking about.
It would.
Where it's a family of stuff. But back to quickly to American Me. Yeah, I definitely feel like that's a great movie. excellent watch.
It's loosely based on a real story,
Okay.
very loosely. The Mexican Mafia did not like how they were portrayed, like that Santana got raped. They're saying that if you're in the Mexican Mafia, you would not be raped.
Ah, interesting.
You know, so
Interesting.
they took very highly offense to that scene because he's portraying a real life figure that's highly respected in the Mexican Mafia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Super highly respected.
So that's a pretty
Yeah. So they got pretty pissed off with his portrayal. So,
pretty slanderous in that respect.
yeah.
From the same Friday Nighter, Joe also mentioned Bonnie and Clyde, obviously a famous gangster
Old school,
couple.
yeah, old school gangster movie from the 60s.
With Warren Beatty?
With Warren Beatty.
I've not seen that one.
Yeah.
But
Gene
obviously,
Hackman.
man's been playing gangsters for a while. So.
Yeah, yes, he sure has.
Something you would recommend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go check it out. Obviously, that couple very famous.
Yeah.
Made famous by.
Died horribly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Horribly.
Yeah.
Died. Yeah. They got shot up by cops like on both sides when they were driving. Just brutal death. Brutal death. Like almost like how Sonny dies.
Oh, no
in
shit.
The Godfather.
Oh, wow. Just
but they're cops.
Shootout. Like,
cops all around them.
Ouch.
You know, just
fucking crazy. Fucking crazy.
I think the car's somewhere in the museum. I
kidding.
I believe. I could be wrong.
Yeah. That movie reminds me a little bit, well, the premise of it reminds me they did the kind of the modern version with Emilio Estevez and Demi Moore and Wisdom.
Yes.
And that was kind of like a modern
That's
take
right.
on that
That's
story.
Right.
But you know, obviously too made famous by the Tupac song Bonnie and Clyde, and then you get the Jay-Z and Beyonce version Bonnie and Clyde.
Right.
They redid it with the Tupac version. He's referring to him and his gun. They're like Bonnie and Clyde.
Okay.
And then later on, Jay-Z and Beyonce are referring to themselves.
All right.
Obviously. But moving on from that, I wrote this down for myself, Black Mass. I watched that in preparation of our show this week. The straight up take on the Whitey Bulger story, Johnny Depp and the great cast that we mentioned, that everybody was in there. Told AA wasn't really like a fun movie. It wasn't one that
the reviews weren't that great.
I wouldn't highly recommend it. I mean, like if you love mob movies, if you like The Departed a lot and you want to know like the Whitey Bulger real story, okay, check it out. Like I kept saying earlier, it's fun, it's quotable, it's like there's funny parts, there's good parts, there's parts you go back to, you just want to watch for that part. You might YouTube a clip of it. This doesn't have any of that. There's not a part I would YouTube of it. There's not an upbeat part, a funny part. There's not a meme of it that I could think of being made like there is of The Departed and all that. Like, you know, fucking Jack Nicholson doing the rat. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing fun like that. Johnny Depp looks scary. There's some scary parts.
Yeah, I don't know why he did that for.
Yeah.
Whitey Bulger doesn't look anything like that.
No, yeah. There's some weird shit in it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's a mob movie for sure or whatever. But in the same vein of Donnie Brasco, where like there's a couple of, at least there's some quotable shit out of there. There's nothing really quotable out of this one, but at least there's some stuff. There might be some stuff you make a meme of, maybe out of Donnie Brasco, but not in this one, not Black Mass. I don't think so. Maybe the reviews were warranted. I mean, you know, like I said, if you get a chance, maybe go for it or whatever. But if you don't, if you say, nah, he wasn't that sold on it, okay, I won't be sad. So, yeah. And then the last one I wrote down out of what we got out of comments was Public Enemies. The Johnny Depp
with Christian Bale and Johnny Depp,
and the story of
John Dillinger,
so back in Prohibition era time. Mm-hmm. So those movies kind of like it's a great opportunity for actors to get in those old cars, carry a Tommy gun, look sharp.
Was directed by Michael Mann.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I love Michael Mann.
Yes,
it's a Collateral.
Yes. Collateral. He, you know,
and then the girl is in it too. The gorgeous girl from Inception. Gorgeous, beautiful.
The French actress.
Yes, the French actress. She sounds so beautiful and everything. Sucks. But you know what? All those things said, I think I own this movie, but I was given a copy by my dad. I don't love it. I never go back to it, which is that's one of my main criteria.
Like, I love Christian Bale and I love Johnny Depp. Mm-hmm. You know,
I love Michael Mann.
I
love great costumes. I love Prohibition era shit. It's just not that good. It's just not that good. I just, you know, like it's okay. Maybe I need to watch it again.
I mean, it didn't really, like I said, it was another movie that came out, kind of was bolstered by, you know, Johnny Depp, Christian Bale at their peaks, like at their hottest. And I don't really remember like that much buzz afterwards. You know what I mean? Like just the names really that sold people, but I don't remember anyone really talking about Public Enemies.
It was just like when Christian Bale was in Terminator Salvation, and you were like, oof.
Yeah.
You're never like, ooh, let's watch Terminator Salvation. You're also like, let's watch Public Enemies. Yeah. So that's it. That's the rundown of what I got out of comments. AA, Now is and that's all I can think of off the
I
top of
just
my head.
got two more.
Yeah.
And you're talking about like really old school ones, but
Yeah.
the original, The Public Enemy with James Cagney,
Oh,
where he
okay.
does the grapefruit in the face. I don't know if you ever know that.
Yeah. That's a pretty famous scene.
Yes, it is. And Little Caesar by Edward G. Robinson.
Always hear about that
You
one.
know, so check these two movies out. I bought this 4-pack, so check them out. Public Enemy, right here.
Now, what are the other two?
Little Caesar. This is the Roaring Twenties, which was really a good movie too. It's Prohibition, and this one too was a Prohibition era too. What is this one? Smart Money. So I mean, all good movies, but Public Enemy is probably your biggest one, right here. Your biggest mobster movie up to that point. Before and you know what, Scarface too, the original Scarface, is considered a classic too. You know, because he even has "The World Is Yours" in the original.
Who is this actor?
Edward G. Robinson.
Edward G. Robinson.
Remember from the Ten Commandments?
Yes, but he's also the famous. He's what's based in the Bugs Bunny cartoon, like the big lips and the the mobster and the spats and the hat and all that. So I just recognize his face right because that's how they always draw him. So yeah, those are great too. I mean, anything from that kind of time.
So I mean, if you can see, gangster movies have been around since gangsters have been around. You know, Public Enemy was made like in 1931, 1932. So always very enjoyable. You know, they always have that same, you know, fucking fuck you attitude, you know.
I mean, I think the reason why those movies are enjoyable is because as a culture and as a country, we've been enamored by these characters for so long.
They're just so ruthless. These people are so ruthless that they just go out and kill.
And because of that, because of their ruthlessness, they're able to kind of live a lifestyle that seems lavish and posh and drive nice cars and wear nice suits and eat nice places.
Price, though? At what price?
Well, right, yeah. If your soul is worth little to you, then you can do that. Go ahead. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
because most of the time it always comes back and gets you, and most of them have all died.
Yep. I mean, who out of those movies comes out clean on the other side? Exactly. Nobody.
No one.
You know what I mean?
And that's in real life too. No one has really come out from clean.
Yeah, I mean it's awful. One of the things I always wondered was like Henry Hill. You know, he went in that witness protection AA, but then
but he kept getting arrested.
But I guess once the mob dissolved, kind of they weren't after him.
No, they weren't. Like he just started showing his face everywhere.
Yeah, it's funny because they kind of address a little bit of that in The Sopranos and what I was watching in season 1, which is back in like whatever year season 1 was. And they're just like, yeah, man, there's like too much like people don't even know who to report to anymore. People don't even know who to pay. They do heists and all that shit, and they don't even know who you're paying, like who your immediate is. And I was like, oh wow, it's kind of like I wonder if it's gonna dive more into that as I go along. That'll be interesting to see that. Like, okay, that's kind of good because the mob was kind of falling apart. You know what I mean? So there was really no more. But guys, we're nearing the end here, so we want to go ahead and read some comments. The last of the comments and the last of what we see here. So
I think we started on Steve.
Let's see. Steve here says
Road to Perdition.
He says Hanks was great in Road to Perdition.
Crystal, we're still watching. The beer was good.
Joe says La Onda. That's right, Joe. That's right. He says American Me Santana, definitely. OMG. I'm sure that's to me that same blood in, blood out. Joe, after you haven't seen The Matrix, you got a long way to go, brother. Now the credit is hey, shit. Joe, no vegan diet, no vegan powers.
I saw that. That was funny.
Steve again says later, guys. Steve, good night again, man. Thank you for coming back. We appreciate that. Joe says for the ladies,
Mi vida loca.
Mi vida loca. Ooh, I think I may have seen that.
Oh wow, okay. I didn't know that.
Is that with Sad Girl or Sad Eyes or whatever, Joe? I remember that or whatever, and I was like, whoa, this is a different one. Mario says, what about the gangsters from Roger Rabbit?
Damn,
great. Okay. I was more worried about the dip. In that one, you know what I mean? And then,
guys, if you want to see a pretty funny movie about gangsters, I would highly recommend Oscar from Sylvester Stallone. That movie is fucking hilarious. Marissa Tomei, Tim Curry, Sylvester Stallone, Chaz Palminteri. You know, it's a pretty awesome cast.
You know, we didn't even, speaking of Chaz Palminteri, we didn't even really talk about A Bronx Tale. Obviously, great.
It's a good movie.
And
Watch
a great movie. I mean, you guys know, probably know A Bronx Tale. It's probably being a lot of people's top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't feel too much like a gangster movie.
No. It's about a kid. struggle between
there's
dad
gangsters in it
and his, Chaz.
Yeah, for sure. But
Roxanne.
one more thing, Mario, about Roger Rabbit. Me and my buddy, we always like to say when our old ladies are getting after us, when we're having laughs with the boys, that they're acting like Christopher Lloyd's character with the "Stop all that laughing." So yeah, that's a little feeling. Roxy, Foxy, Roxy in the house. What up, Roxy?
You look great wearing our shirt, Roxanne.
That's Roxanne. Great, thank you. Hey guys, if you're still here, we're still with us. Any Friday nighters that have any Friday night merchandise, post a picture of yourself with the merchandise, using it, whatever. Guys, you guys saw that we debuted some shirts. Shit, hold on, guys. We're doing a little process here, but anyways, we'll get back to that. We debuted some shirts, hats. Three-Legged Rabbit is helping us out, putting up some merch right now.
You probably don't need the beanies, but man, get a hat.
Yeah,
we have fitted hats now, trucker hats.
Fitted hats, trucker hats. It's kind of a really simple. It doesn't have our real logo on it, but just our lettering and the name, but still very cool. But if not, our shirts with our logo A and logo B are up. Logo C, I don't have up there. We're working on other things like that. We're still working with Deuces Mercado and Annie, but we're also working with Three-Legged Rabbit, and we may even do Teespring too. So do a picture.
I'm gonna do a shout out to the Three of the Hard Way. They helped me with Foxy Roxy shirt and Hoti Bear shirt.
Rad.
So
yeah, Three the Hard Way, also great too. We do have a shirt on that side as well. It's the baseball tee. The baseball tee's not
which seems to be our very popular.
Yeah, that's what I got asked for today. Yeah. Guys, I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm going to say this. I will probably be out. I know I'm not supposed to go out. I'm trying to be good, guys, but I probably will go out after this because I do have deliveries of merch to Luchador tonight, a Luchador bar.
One of their bartenders, very beautiful
Tony
ordered a shirt, so CM is personally delivering the shirt.
I'm going to take it over. Also, I'm hoping that Friday Nighter David is going to meet me out there for his shirt.
That's right,
I got a baseball tee from David Lopez from the band All Sides Equal. They're recording. It's practice night, so I hope that he can make it after practice. But guys, if I meet anybody tonight, great. Let's take some pictures with our masks on. Let's mask up. Let's respect Luchador's rules.
Yeah, I saw Friday Night Faithful Yelly. She was wearing her mask.
Yeah, that was a great picture. Friday Nighter Yelly, appreciate that, wearing the mask. So if anybody wants to come out to Luchador night for a little bit, maybe have just a few. It can't be out. I can't be out all night, because I'm doing stuff tomorrow too. But I would love to take pictures with you guys, meet you guys, and I'm going to take the swag that I'm owed there, and if I have any additional swag, I'll take it. And you know what I mean? We'll see what happens with that stuff. But yeah, if you have stuff already, I know Friday Nighter Juan has our patch on the backpack. Post, but yourself too. Put yourself in the picture, not just that, because then people think I'm just posting our own shit. Like, I can do that here. I need to see you with your stuff out in the world. Like, hey, I'm using this thing.
Foxy Roxy showed us.
Yes, Foxy Roxy showed the way. So. Nothing beats seeing our merch out in the world, guys, and we appreciate all of our partners that are working with us to do that.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really cool.
It's really cool.
Very cool. Many people want our stuff. So
I just ordered a shirt from the Blurred Nerds. It's another podcast in town. And they know another podcast named The Goods Podcast. And obviously we interviewed the Dork Dad podcast last week. So Dork Dad Lucky, he's got his own merch too. So trying to order up and buy up all the stuff I can, but it's a lot of stuff out there, guys. And so to be had. So if you happen to get anything of ours, or you already have anything of ours, we would love it if you posted a picture, and we'll gladly share that to our main page, and then from our main or to our Instagram, and then from our Instagram it shares automatically to our page, and then from our page we'll share it to our Facebook group, the Friday Night Faithful, which is all of you. So, guys, we really enjoyed the talk on mobster movies.
This was fun. I love this.
A lot of fun, man. So much more out there to cover. I'm sure we'll hear more. We appreciate it. In the comments at the end of the night, guys.
I want to see Road to Perdition. I'm probably going to check that one out tonight.
I know, man.
That's a good night movie.
It's a perfect night movie. It's so mellows you out. What a great, I believe that the score is Thomas Newton Howard. Correct me if I'm wrong. I love him. He's so great. And he also did Shawshank, I think.
Yes.
So, but the last comments, Foxy Roxy said she loved Oscar. And she said she loves her baseball tee. So,
guys, if
I've never seen that. I've never seen that
comedy. That's a really good movie. So check it out.
Yeah. Guys, before we get out of here, Double A, anything else?
No, man. Just you know what? If you have any recommendations for crime movies, gangster movies, hit me up, because that's how I found out, from CM showing me to my late Emma's boyfriend telling me about
Joe.
Carlito's Way and
Shout out to
Bronx
Joe.
Tale. He's the one that told me about Bronx Tale.
Yeah,
back in the 90s.
I love that
because of him.
story. That's cool.
So-
I do love an encounter with Joe, man.
I
Great
love
guy.
recommendations, man. CM has given me so many recommendations, and I've loved it because he has given me. It's because of this guy I saw Casino. He opened this whole mobster genre for me. It's because of him I read Preacher. You know, it's because of a lot of his recommendations that I've loved different genres. So hit us up with some recommendations.
Maybe put my hat back on there. I think I look more like the detective though.
You do. Yeah, you look like Elliot Ness.
Guys, yeah, man. Same thing goes for me with Double A and his brothers. Obviously, we've sat through so many mob movies together, repeat viewings.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
The books, though, literally Wise Guy and Casino, directly from this man who always does a deeper, whatever dive anybody does, this man always dives 1 or 10 feet deeper than you. So like I say, hey, you want to go head to head with me, you probably come out on top with Double A. That's another story altogether. So yeah, guys, mob movies, man, we love them. So if there's anything we missed, send them over.
Guys, remember tomorrow Mario's having a huge sale
yes.
on the big Bowen statues.
Gorgeous
statues are great. So check him out tomorrow. He'll be open this weekend for sure. He'll be open this weekend. So I'll probably be there for sure. I want to see that Ghost Rider. So.
Oh yeah, and there's a Punisher out there I want.
Yes,
there,
sir.
So guys,
check out Authority Comics, okay, at Traders Village.
Authority Comics Traders, which $4 usually to get in. Go right to the back.
And you don't have to buy nothing. Mario won't force you to buy anything.
He's just fun to be around. Yeah. He's just fun to really.
If you have questions, you're trying to start a comic book collection, just ask him, and he'll give you the right leads. So,
and you can always go down the street too and go check out Toy Matrix. Bobby and Gary will be there. Awesome T-shirts. Mario doesn't do T-shirts, but they certainly do. They've got T-shirts and a bevy of toys. Probably more recent stuff, like if you want Mandalorian toys, they'll probably definitely have that up in there.
Very nice.
But I'm into the WandaVision right now, and I told Mario I want to go over there. I want to see him about some House of M and some Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, and Vision stuff. I wish they call her the Scarlet Witch more. I mean, look at her, what a knockout, right?
Yeah,
what a gal. So guys, that's it, right?
Yeah, that's it, man. Hey guys, drink some illegal liquor. Smoke some cigars.
Prohibition era.
Yeah, man.
Brew your own moonshine.
Yeah, and forget about it.
Forget about it, huh?
She's a hot piece of ass. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Hey, don't take no fugazis, all right? No fugazis. All right, guys. So before we go, we always like to say one thing before we get out of here. We like to say, if there's something that you want to do, you want to make your own moonshine, you want to make someone an offer they can't refuse, well, do it.
Nice.
Now is the time. Do it right now. Seize the day. You think Vito Corleone didn't seize the day? He certainly did seize the day.
He sure did.
And sometimes Michael sees the day too, and then not the right way. So there's that. But the other thing is that sometimes you got to do, and these guys more than anybody, these mobsters know that you got to do whatever it takes.
And they do whatever it takes.
Maybe not. Don't go to their extremes. Don't go to their extremes, but. You guys, sometimes you got to do whatever it takes. It's going to be hard. It's going to require work. It's going to require effort. It's going to require time. It's going to, you know what I mean? It's not easy to get T-shirts up and run a podcast and all that, but you can do it. So, guys, seize the day and do whatever it takes. For myself, I am CM Chuck.
Hey, I'm Double A, and I want to see you guys next Friday and hang out with all of you guys.
Absolutely, guys. For us here, just another Friday night. Good night.